尊敬的各位来宾、女士们、先生们，大家上午好！欢迎来到2023香港 Web3 嘉年华跨链专场的活动现场。我是本场活动主持人，来自 HashKey Capital 的胡志威，非常高兴能跟大家一块儿在今天进行交流。那么本场活动呢是由边界智能 ICF 联合主办方万象区块链实验室 HashKey Group 共同主办，并得到了10余家跨链生态团队的鼎力支持，感谢他们。能让我们今天有机会汇聚在香港，共同探讨全球跨链生态未来发展的一个趋势。那今天跨链专场呢，可谓是星光熠熠，因为我们活动上半场有来自 Poly Network、Chain IDE、Multi-Chain 等知名团队的3位嘉宾，将分别给我们带来跨链 Web3 相关的主题演讲。那下半场为 Cosmos 生态的生态分享专场，来自 Inclusion、边界智能、Stargaze、Kepler、Osmosis、Litecoin、Octopus Network、Fobo、Optic Network、Stakefish 等知名 Cosmos 生态团队的嘉宾，将在主旨演讲、圆桌论坛等环节去分享他们独到的见解。此外呢，还有来自 IBCL、ND Labs 等知名的跨链团队，以及在场来自全球各地的跨链生态的区块链创业者和开发者。那相信各位这个嘉宾一定会给我们带来一场思维和这个火花这么一个火花激烈碰撞的一个跨链盛宴。OK， 那下面呢就进入我们今天活动的第一个环节了。首先有请 Poly Network 生态的核心贡献者 Dr. Luke Liu 上台发表主旨演讲，让我们欢迎。
大家早上好，然后我是 Luke， 我是现在在参与 Poly Network 生态的这个贡献工作，很高兴能够参加今天我们整个的这次活动，然后很高兴参加这次早晨的这个跨链的这个专场，然后我会分享一些在Web3 互操作协议，特别是关于这个安全性方面的一些研究工作，还有未来的一些展望。然后也想去引发大家对于互操作安全性的一些思考，以及为什么这个是一个对互操作Web3 的互操作性来说是一个 fundamental 的一个 challenge。然后这个同时也是一个联合的一个研究工作，来自于包括清华大学还有北京大学的研究团队和研究员。So I will be speaking in Chinese, but we would be happy to have offline conversations with any with any English-speaking friends.互操作性呢，其实本质上是描述了包括这个可计算的这种实体之间在数据和计算层面的一些交互性上面的一些能力。它其实是很通用的一个概念。那么在 Web3 特别是多链 Web3 这个生态当中，其实互操作性更多的去指向了在跨链的多链的这个资产之间的一种可信的这种操作的能力。那这是一个很简单的例子啊，这个图上是个很简单的例子，就是在以太坊这个网络上面，如果我们想要能够把以太坊的资产转移到这个比如说 BNB 这个区块链上的话呢，那我们基本上这个是会通过在这2个网络上面的这个跨链桥的智能合约，它们之间的这个交互来实现。那么这样的一个在以太坊上面的这个资产的这个deposit 还有锁定的这个动作呢，通常来讲会被一组这个 operator 去jointly 的 confirm 就会被确认，然后被可信的去认可，然后触发在另外一条链上另一端的这个相关的这个计算工作。那这是一个很简单也很直接的一个例子。那如果我们去对它做一些抽象，我们从更宏观的一个角度去看呢，其实互操作性的协议基本上它的核心设计的价值来自于2个维度。第一个维度呢，就是对去中心化的这种多链的应用提供一个通信上面的一个 endpoints。那么这个呢，更多的是提供一个标准化的通信的过程，还有相关的一个数据格式。另外呢，就是为了保证，因为本身这个区块链更多是一个自我闭包的这么一个系统。那么为了保证区块链网络之间的这个协同和通信是可以保证它的这个安全性和有效性的。那么通常呢，另外一个设计上的一个重点就是引入这样的一个验证的网络或者验证的集群，去保证一个区块链上面发生的这个动作和计算能够 按照预期的、按照设定的去触发另外一条链上面的这个相关的一个计算操作。那实际上在这样的一个，这个是一个非常通用的一个框架。那么在这样的一个框架上面，其实现在已经有很多的这个跨链应用的这种落地的场景啊，比如说我们看到这种去中心化的交易所，还有 DeFi 的一些借贷的协议、NFT 相关的应用，甚至是社交金融相关的一些场景，还有很多。那当然这是一个很明显的一个趋势，也是未来的一个趋势。下一页。如果我们从安全的角度啊，从 security 的角度去看待这个多链的互操作协议呢，其实这样的一个协议其实是可以看作包括了 application， 包括了刚才讲的 communication 的这种 endpoints， 包括了底层的这个 consensus network， 包括了为了保证不同的这个区块链网络之间的协同所引入的这个 verification network， 它们之间的一个组合的这样的一套交互式的系统。所以呢，我们其实可以 formalize， 我们可以形式化的去对它做一个数学上的抽象。那么整体这个协议的安全性，其实很大程度上依赖于这个不同元素它个体的安全性，以及各种 modular、各种 constructs 之间的交互上的一个安全性。所以我们其实可以有一个很 general 的一个框架，比如说我们可以去把中间核心的这个交互过程给它抽象出来。那么在这个原始的这个应用呢，它通常会触发一个这个对于互操作计算的这样的一个请求。那这个请求呢，会涉及到本身这个应用上的一些状态的一些更新，然后还涉及到要面向这个通信的 endpoint 去调用相关的接口。那这个接口就会引入相关的计算上下文，加入到这样的接口当中去，以及它会产生相关的这个交易的消息。那么在通信这个层面呢，本身 endpoint 自己也会维护自己的状态，同时呢也会在链上去，一般来说就会链上去存储相应的这个关键的事件，用来进一步的推动这个互操作的过程。那么在 verify 的过程当中，首先我们要选定相应的验证的这个程序，选定相应的验证的这个过程，同时还要保障所有的区块信息、所有的 message 信息能够被可靠的验证。然后同时这个验证的过程不能够仅仅是一个节点来去保障，可能要经过大多数的这个 network 当中的节点去参与，然后来形成一个 agreement， 形成一个共同的一个对这个跨链通信的一个认知和认定。同时呢，它也会产生进一步的这个相关的链上的交易消息，来推动最终这样的一个跨链的多链的一个互操作，在目标区块链网络上的这个应用层面进行最终的一个这个执行。那刚才提到就是并不是所有的这个互操作协议的实现都是一样的，但是我们试图呢去建立一个通用的、建立一个统一的这样的一个风险模型，使得大多数的这个协议能够和这样的一个框架能够兼容。同时呢，它也给了一个很好的一个 guideline， 就是说你如果想要保障你的跨链互操作协议的这个安全性，那么你可能可以通过这样的一个 framework 去帮助你去理解可能的这个 attack surface， 可能的这个攻击面在什么位置。所以我们如果看待这个 request 还有 finalize 的过程，在不同的这个应用层面去做这个请求和这个终结的这个过程，我们需要关注这个状态迁移的过程，需要关注相应的对于底层这个跨链的 API 去进行调用的时候，相应的传入的上下文的参数，需要关注相应的这个产生的这个跨链的进一步的这个交易。同时在这个通信的过程当中，我们也要关注相应的这个endpoint 的状态，还有是否产生了这个如预期的相关的这个事件链上的事件。当然在这个验证的过程当中，我们得关注是不是正确的这个 process 去进行了这个跨链互操作的验证，也得关注这个对于 block 还有 message 的验证过程是否正确、是否安全，然后是否有合法的、有效的这个相应的 verifier 参与。有这样的一个框架呢，其实帮助我们更去系统性的去理解在互操作协议层面所产生的这个安全性的风险，而不是说我们针对不同的这个安全事件去作为一个个例单独的一个个例去理解它。那么就在这个 talk 当中呢，其实我们总结了在过去2年当中发生的相对来说有一定这个影响范围的15次攻击。其实这个是一个相对来说很有挑战性的一个问题，就是说如何保证你的这个互操作的协议是安全的，这是一个很大的、很有挑战性的一个命题。但是呢，我们可以通过这15个案例去进一步的去了解， 刚才这样的一个风险的一个 risk model 能够怎么样去帮助大家更好的产生对于互操作协议安全性的这样的一个系统性的一个理解。那么，如果我们去细看这些具体的这个攻击的话呢，我们其实可以发现，比如说在22年的3月份还有6月份，其实这样的攻击其实来源于很常见的这种私钥的这种丢失，导致外部的攻击者成为了就是他没有这个资格，但是他其实成为了这个被认为是合法的这样的一个验证过程当中的 verifier。那么很相近的一个例子就是说，由于这个通信上面的一些对于这个 MPC 实现过程当中的这样的一些疏忽，导致我们可以利用同样的这个 nonce 的这个 value 去恢复出来一些私钥，那么这个就可以参与到 MPC 去进行这个跨链消息验证签名的时候的这样的一个过程。那这个其实也是影响到了刚才前面提到的这个 framework 当中关于怎么样保证这个 verifier 有效性的这个层面。那么当然这个地方是一个例子，这个是关于在通信的过程当中产生了不合法或者危险的不安全的这样的一个通信的事件。比如在这个例子当中，其实我们会产生 deposit 这样的一个事件，但这个事件根据业务逻辑应当是根据真正的这个 token 的 transfer 的过程，两者是应当保证一个 atomicity， 应当保证一个原子性的，就是要么都发生，要么都不发生。但是在这个实际的过程当中呢，如果攻击者当时是传入了一个零地址的这么样的一个参数，那这个参数呢，其实可以 bypass 当时在下面这个函数当中的一个 sanity check， 它可以通过这个 check。原因是呢，这个零地址在初始化的时候其实被放在了 whitelist 当中。那又因为在这个实际的转账这个操作当中，如果你是 0 的地址，其实它并不会触发相应的转账操作，但它的 fallback 呢又没有在上层的这个逻辑当中被保护起来。也就是说，这个异常的情况是发生了，但是没有被捕捉到，所以就导致这个事件被创建了出来然后存在了链上，可是实际的转账却没有发生。那么另外一端的互操作的实体呢，就会得到一个错误的信息。那这个是一个非常相近的一个例子，就是说这个协议它其实提供了2个接口，这2个接口呢是对于不同的这个资产的这个互操作提供了相应的这个接口。比如说第一个是针对普通的标准化的这个 ERC20的 token， 那第二个呢是针对于这个 WETH 做了一个专门的一个特殊的一个 interface。那当然这个是为了它的本身的这个业务能够更加的灵活的场景做了这样的设计。但这样的设计的问题就在于说，当这个攻击者去使用这样的接口，但是却并没有按照他预期的使用这个接口的模式去进行这样的协议交互的时候，就会出现问题。比如说在这个例子当中，其实他是访问了那样为这个 ERC20这个 token 所设计的这个 interface， 但是它却传入了 WETH 的这个 token 的 ID。那么这个时候因为这个条件的判断它不成立，那不成立以后呢，那么下面的这个相关的这个 token 的 transfer 的过程也不会发生，可是它仍然会触发一个链上的一个事件。那么这个是跟前面那个例子是很像的不过是不同的这个 instantiation 的一个过程。那么这个例子呢是更多的是出现在链下的刚才前面讲到的这个 verification 过程当中，对于 block 和 message进行这个验证的这样的一些过程。比如说在这个例子当中，其实它的验证很简单的用了这个 token 的这个 symbol 的 name。那这个攻击者其实就很简单，他创造了一个名字叫做 ETH 的这样一个 token， 但其实是一个 fake token。但是呢，在这样的一个验证逻辑当中，因为这个逻辑上面的问题，所以导致这样的一个互操作的一个过程被认为是实际上是在跟以太坊的 Ether 在进行 interaction， 所以这个就导致了逻辑上面的一个问题。另外呢，在这也是同样的一个类别当中的一个例子，就是说我们其实所有有效的这个多链互操作的这样的消息呢，其实会在这个协议当中被存储。但是问题是，这个协议并没有正确的处理。如果这个消息并不是来源于一个合法的这样的一个链上的一个互操作消息，如果我去制造了一个假的一个 fake 的一个这样的一个 message， 那么根据这个底层的这个编程 programming language 的这个语义呢，其实它会导致这个 mapping 的 structure 会返回一个默认的一个空的一个值 0 的一个值。那这个值呢，其实恰好在这个协议当中被在初始化阶段认为是一个有效的一个 message root 哈希。那么其实这个就是说，它一个默认的值并没有特殊去进行处理，导致了整个验证过程的一个错误。 这个例子也是同样的，在这个类别当中，就是我们在这样的一个协议当中，我们可以看到，它给所有的这个验证的 verifier 提供了一定的额度。那当然，这个额度是周期性的，它会依赖于你上次进行验证到现在为止的这个时间的一个时间差的一个窗口。那么在这个例子当中呢，如果我是一个非法的验证者，那么我会被认定为，其实我从来没有验证过，所以我的这个 capacity 是非常大的。那事实上，在这个协议当中，根据逻辑也给了他一个非常大的 capacity， 使得这个非法的一个验证者在这样的一个验证场景当中，成为了一个有很大 capacity 的一个 great power。所以它是一个导致了这个验证过程其实可以被任意的外部操作。那么前面也提到，就是说，同样我们要关注是否在某些例子当中是否有相应的这个合法的这个验证程序进入被选中被这个触发，然后进行相应的这个验证过程。那么在这个例子当中，由于这个协议的实现并没有去特殊参考这个验证程序它本身的合法性，所以呢，我们其实可以 inject， 我们可以插入一些自己任意去定义的一些验证的程序，然后让它被认为是一个合法的一个验证程序。所以经过这个 patch， 其实我们可以看到这个协议其实它做了一些补丁和升级，它其实需要去检查这个程序是不是来自于系统级的这个合约和程序，来保证它的这个有效性。那当然还有其他的一些例子，就是涉及到前面提到的，就是在应用端涉及到的一些这个状态的一些错误的一些变迁，比如说这个地方是权限的问题，导致这个应用端的权限可以给了这个外部任意的去提取用户资产、用户资金的这样的一个能力。比如说这个地方，我们由于对这个应用端的这个特定的这个合约的交互没有去做检查，导致我们并没有在类型上保证它的合法性。那么这个地方传入的这个 parameter 呢，其实它并不满足这个协议实现当中所需要的这个类型。那这样的话就会导致产生错误的资产的一个转账的一个操作。所以我们前面其实简单的过了一下相关的这个过去2年以内出现的这种比较广泛的这种安全攻击的情况。但是有一个很冲突的一个问题，就是我们可能很多人都会有这样的疑问，就是但事实上很多这样的项目其实都经过了安全审计，并且呢这种安全审计还是被很多领先的很强的这个安全的公司和团队来做的。那所以那为什么会是这样的一种情况呢？就为了更好的理解这个问题，其实我们首先可以去理解一下现在的安全审计技术它的能力在哪儿，然后我们再来去理解这样的它的一个冲突是为什么会产生。那其实最直接的一些安全审计的这个技术包括，比如说第一个我们会有一个 best practice 的 checklist。那这个 checklist 你基本上会基于这个列表去判断是不是所有的这个要求的这个 requirement 都被enforce 在你的这个协议的实现当中。然后呢，我们当然还有一些自动化的一些技术，比如说静态的、动态的对这个协议以及协议的实现进行分析的这样的办法。这个涉及到这个 static 的 program analysis， 还有 dynamic 的 program analysis。那么它基本上会把你的代码转化成一个所谓的 IR， 就是中间的 intermediate representation。然后呢，会用自动化的算法去在这样的一个 IR 表示上面去进行相应的这个安全分析。那当然，我们也有很多关于这个形式化验证 formal verification 的一些应用，它会利用一些底层的数学化的一些算子，去捕获你的协议当中最核心的结构化的，还有语义化、功能化上面的信息，然后呢，去便利在这样的一个 model 上面所产生的这个状态空间，然后看是否存在非预期的一些情况。那当然，除了以上的这些问题呢，其实我们还会结合一些，就当这个安全攻击的这个问题本身并不是很明确的时候，我们其实会结合其他的一些办法，比如说一些AI 的一些方法去搜索这个漏洞，可能的漏洞，搜索这个可能的概率化的这个问题。那么在刚才前面这个例子当中呢，其实我们现有的这个技术其实可以做到提供非常有用的信息，比如说我们可以根据前面这个例子抽取出右边这张图，这张图就告诉我们，在这个可能的所有的交易当中，它其实可以有3条路径去产生这个最终的事件。第一个呢是右边就是说，如果不是 WETH 呢，会 lock 相应的 ERC20 的这个 token。左边的话呢，如果你是 WETH 呢，那么它会做一个 WETH 的 transfer。可是它也会告诉我们，它有中间的这样的一个执行的路径，就是说， 只要它的 token ID 是 WETH， 那么它最终会产生一个事件，但是这个中间不会涉及到任何的 token 的 transfer。所以呢，这个中间这条路线其实就是刚才前面介绍的这个出现问题的这个安全的事件。所以呢，我们也希望提供一个新的思路，就是说，与其去发明一些新的、创造一些新的安全审计的技术，我们可能更应该做的是，怎么样更有效地利用现有的这个安全审计的技术，让他们知道这个安全分析的目标是什么，然后怎么样让他们更好地在这个协议的分析当中提供发挥他们的潜力。那这个呢，就涉及到2个层面。第一我们需要很强的security 的 spec。就你的安全属性是什么？在这个例子当中，其实我们有一个潜在的安全属性，我们并没有把它放在代码当中，放到协议当中，可是它实际上是所有的这个 deposit 的这个事件的产生，必须要么是来源于一个 WETH 的一个转账，或者来源于一个 ERC20 的一个转账。其实这个是开发人员也知道，业务人员也知道，然后其实比如说安全研究的人员也知道，但是它并没有显示的被放到这个安全分析的安全保障的这个过程当中。那对于这样的 spec， 其实我们可以有更加数学化、计算机可以理解的这样的方式，就是下面，这样我们可以有 logic formula to describe 这样的一个 specification。那第2点可以做的呢，就是怎么样能够更大程度上的去发挥安全保障技术的一些能力。我们知道现在的这些这个多链应用的这个编程的这个模型，其实是很和这个底层的区块链，包括一些实现细节去结合的。可是，如果我们能够提供更高的、更抽象的在业务层面的一些这个编程模型，我们就能够更好的去统一化的去捕捉所有的这个业务的逻辑。那这个其实对安全分析、安全保障的能力的发挥和提升是一个很大的一个推动作用。那当然，在最后的时间呢，我们在这个 Poly Network 呢，我们其实一方面已经支持了超过35个 Layer 1、Layer 2的 Network， 然后呢，我们也在不断做自我的这个协议，还有这个网络系统方面的一些优化。然后我们也在 onboarding 新的这个网络、新的开发者，还有新的项目。当然，跟这个 talk 相关的，我们也非常关注这个怎么样提供原生的这个安全保障，无论是通过 by construction 还是 by validation。然后呢，怎么样去打造一个真正面向多链的、提供业务层面的这样的一个编程模型，能够使得这个编程的开发既这个多链的应用开发很简单，同时又很安全。那么最后，如果大家对相关的这个项目感兴趣，如果对相关的这个合作和加入感兴趣的话呢，可以通过这样的一些 channel 去加入我们。Thank you. I would be happy to have any offline conversations with any friend. Thank you.
好，谢谢 Luke 的精彩分享，那给我们带来了非常深入到代码细节的这么一个非常干货的一个跨链安全技术方面的一个分析，安全性的一个分析。那接下来我们有请趁 IDE 创始人吴笑为我们分享跨链时代的 Web3 应用开发与生态的主题演讲，大家掌声欢迎。
Hello everyone. Today my topic is about cross-chain development. I will not present in English because I tried to present in bilingual yesterday and the whole time like the double. So I will just present in Chinese. And for the audience, if you want to connect with some super connector, they can do the translation. That will be best. 大家好，我今天的话题是跨链时代的 Web3 应用开发与生态。然后昨天我尝试用英语跟中文做 bilingual 的一些演讲，但直接就时间 double 了。所以说今天我们肯定还是用中文来讲。然后也是在香港的5天吧，讲了5场，每次都讲不同的 topic， 这非常棒。然后今天我的 agenda 是主要涉及4个 topic， 第一个是跨链的思考，第2个是跨链的探索，第3个是跨链的应用开发新范式，第4个是新时代的 Web3 生态与思考。就是第一个问题，我觉得还是灵魂拷问啊！就大家都在讲跨链，包括我们自己在3、4年前在做一些跨链相关的探索。那第一个问题永远是 why cross chain， 就为什么要做跨链？你总要有个理由吧？你去解决一个科学问题也好，你去解决一个工程问题也好，它一定要有个理由。我们认为比较有意思一点就是跨链技术其实是网络国家的基础设施，不管是叫网络国家也好，叫数字城邦也好，就简单来说就是 network state 这件事。那跨链它必须要有自己的一些颠覆性，然后它能解决一些信息孤岛，未来可能会有一些牵链合一以及有一些道跟生产的问题。第一个就是 颠覆性。就今天我们看到，无论是任何一个大的厂商，不管我们看到是做的游戏 Overwatch 也好，或者是 GTA 也好，或者是亚马逊也好，或者是微软也好，你的任何一个账户，其实你都需要无数次的去注册。不管是你用手机注册也好，用邮箱注册也好，你需要不断的去注册。那地球上每一个人都在用注册的这种方式，不断的去注册一个 Google 的账户，去注册一个微软的账户，去注册一个 Amazon 的账户。所有的这些注册并没有跟真正的方便用户。那为什么呢？是因为每一个用户其实都是这些大厂资产负债表上的一个数字，就是Web2的企业最核心的是为股东负责，而为股东负责最直接的一个根本就代表着我有100万的用户，我有200万的用户，我怎么把这些用户变成我的叫什么盈利也好，或者把他的一些不管隐私或者是他的兴趣爱好卖给这些大的广告商也好，就是这个是Web2公司最核心的逻辑。但是Web3不一样。Web3，你去使用Web3的产品，你其实更多的是把你的数字资产，你把你的价值捕获抓到用户自己的手上。这个是Web3最根本性的一点不同。那各大公司互为封闭、联动片面，那跨链技术在这个时间刚好可以介入，让各个公司它的一些资产、它的一些 NFT、它的一些游戏角色真正打通。那这点是非常有意思的，因为为什么 Google 跟 Amazon 是不可能联合的呢？就是比如说这个涉及到一个叫做时间复杂度的问题。就比如说 Google 上面所有的账户体系跟亚马逊的所有账户体系打通，那它其实是 out of n。然后如果是2个这样的公司互相打通呢，就是 out of n 方。就是比如说 Google 跟亚马逊跟微软，那它之间两打通，那它消费的时间是至少是 out of n 方。但是呢，如果有一层通用的这种代码或者是这种算力底层，就是我们说的区块链，可以把 NFT， 可以把它所有的这些数字资产往区块链上去打通，那它其实 out of n 就直接只有一个时间复杂度，就是它时间复杂度呈几何倍数的一个下降，就这个其实是跨链非常适合去做的一件事儿。第二件事情就是说，今天整个区块链还是局域网，无论我们看到以太坊、BSC 还是 Polygon， 就是我们看到 EVM 这些有应用比较多的一些链，或者是我们看到一些不管是 NFT 也好，还是 DeFi 也好，就这些上面应用跑得比较多的这些区块链，本身还是一个局域网。以太坊上的用户并不能直接去调用Polygon 上的一个 NFT，Polygon 上的用户并不能直接去调用BSC 上的一个 NFT 或者 BSC 上的一个 DeFi， 这个导致了今天的整个区块链还是一个局域网。那你很难想象，就是说，哎，这么多链跟链之间的信息都是互为封闭，你哪怕做了一些 bridge， 做了一些 connector， 做了一些桥，但是它之间的信息还是封闭的。其实你做桥做的这件事情，其实是你往里面做了一个指令，往里面插入一个函数，往里面插入一个智能合约，你在桥的另外一边也帮它做同样的事儿嘛。但是它本质上是互为封闭的，它们的逻辑、信息跟数据各不相同，这个其实是构建了一个信息孤岛。造的链越多，它的信息孤岛越严重。那想要真正的区块链能够去跟互联网去抗衡呢，就是需要一种这种千链合一的技术。换句话说，我们需要它能够从 Web3 的局域网到它的互联网。那这点非常重要。这里有个非常大的叙事，就是 Web0 的世界。什么叫 Web0 的世界？就是离 Web3 越远的世界，就包括一些政府啊、国企啊、大的 enterprise 啊。就 Web0 的世界其实跟 Web3 是对手盘。Web3 怎么样才能崛起 ？Web3 的崛起不光靠 Web3 自己的技术，更有一个时运的机会。那这个时运的机会在哪里？就是在整个 Web0 的世界经济在大规模崩盘的情况下，它有个非常大的时运机会。就如果大家都是安居乐业的，是没有人想要觉得说，哎，我有一个跨主权国家的 crypto 的系统，我有一个能在世界范围内运行的计算机，它会有价值。但是呢，因为今天无论我走过的中东北非的10几个国家，有些地方真的是民不聊生，大学毕业50%找不到工作，人民可能连饭都吃不起。包括我们在尼日利亚教的那些开发者，一年他们的货币贬值能到40%，就因为这样的民不聊生，才导致了 Web0 的世界跟 Web3 的世界是互为对手盘。有这样的对手盘 ，Web3 才有崛起的机会。特别是到就是说什么呢？今天很多公司它连社保啊、税啊各方面它全部都缴不起，但是它依旧想要做点事，依旧想要去做点项目。那这个时候，像DAO、像 Network State、像网络国家、像这样一些全新的 组织形式、全金的组织方式才有可能成功。比如说，在非洲有20亿 unbanking 的人，就是他连银行账户都没有，就金融系统根本就不愿意为这些泥腿子去提供服务。但是在一个道里面，他可以做出贡献，他可以收到 USDC， 他可以换得他生命所需要的一些牛奶、面包，这个是非常直接的方式。这样的组织力跟生产力才能够提供整个Web0世界的一个基础设施。所以说，我们看到在这样的一个组织形式下，你需要有道，需要有网络国家，需要有各种各样的基础设施。那第二个是跨链探索，就包括我们自己的探索以及，首先要讲的是 early builders， 就早期的这些建设者。这是2018年在上海，这个是当时会写 Solidity 的人，大家聚在一起。在这之前有更小的一个聚会，大概在上海里面大概只有1-2张桌子的人会写 Solidity。那个年代其实Vitalik 还在找各种各样的开发者，因为没有人会去用 Solidity 开发，大家觉得非常傻，就不管是 Web3 叫什么的做的比较它的 bug 比较多也好，它的向下兼容以及互操作性比较差也好，实际上在那个年代会Solidity开发人并不多。那这张图里面很多人他已经财富自由了就退圈了，也有些人就是依旧在 build， 也有些人没有成功但他也退圈了。但是在当时会写 Solidity 的人真的很少，这个是 Solidity 早期的一些 builders。当时我做了一款游戏叫 Cell Evolution 细胞进化，拿了包括腾讯啊、Google 啊、Facebook 在内大概400-500万的奖金吧，就拿了很多的奖。当时就在做区块链游戏，那个时候没有叫 GameFi， 没有这个词。然后我们在做区块链游戏的时候，就做了各种各样的一些探索，包括它是个多链游戏，在那个年代它已经是个多链游戏，就非常有意思。然后也拿了很多奖金了，很多大奖。然后在2018年的 Game Jam 是最大的这种游戏比赛的黑客松里面，我们做了一个底层角色共识合约的一个联动，就可以把不同链上的角色把它聚在一起，在上面可以做一些游戏的探索。那个游戏叫 Last Trip， 然后最后可以在以太坊、可以在波场、可以在 NAS 上都可以把它的角色共识进行一个共享。然后我们做了 Chain ID， 它是一个多链的一个 Integrated Development Environment， 多链的开发者合约，开发者工具，目前覆盖了185个国家。在以太坊的官网上直接是推荐的，大家可以看到，在以太坊的官网上 Learn by Coding 就有看到的 Chain ID。在 BNB Chain 的官网上，我们是直接推荐的，就里面的课程教你写第一个 GameFi， 写第一个 DeFi。我们做这样的事情做了很久，我们花了5年的时间，才把世界上最大的2条链全部上到他们官网，去给他们的开发者生态做一些支持。这件事情我觉得非常有意义，因为无数的 Web2 的 coder 想要进入 Web3，education 是非常重要的，并且是需要这样的一些开发者工具可以帮助他们。2019年，我写了 IEEE Infocom 的一篇论文，它是 Paperback Cross-Chain Framework， 也是计算机的顶会。当时也是在法国巴黎去做了一些 presentation。我们就是把以太坊、波场跟星云当时的这3条链的一些信息做了一些共享。到这个周期，可能很多链都不存在了，但这个是早期我说的，就 early builders， 就早期我们做的一些探索吧。然后我们做了 Matrix Sword， 做了多链的元宇宙，这个其实是基于以太坊跟 Flow 的。你到了新的周期，又有新的叙事，有新的链。那在以太坊跟 Flow 上，我们做出了第一个多链的元宇宙。这几年写了很多项目，写了很多产品。然后里面每一个 objects 都是 programmable objects， 在上面它的这些，比如说一个喷泉，你可以把一个智能合约 attach 到这个喷泉上，那每天可能就能领一些叫什么的 airdrops， 领一些空投，薅点羊毛等等，就这样很有意思的一些概念。比如说在以太坊上的人能看到 Flow 上的人在买它的一些地块，那 Flow 上的人可以看到以太坊上的人在进行一些操作，这些都是非常有意思的一些跨链的一些小探索。然后这个项目也是我们会尽力的去做，它的 primary market 就是 NFT 的 sale 也非常棒，有1000万美金，然后之后融资也非常棒。继续往下，就是说 Web3 开发的这种应用开发的新范式是什么？就是除了我们做的早期的一些探索，那今天它的探索的范式是什么呢？就我认为就时光飞逝啊，就早期的一些逻辑今天并不一定完全适用。比如说这个是在2019年我们在北京一些早期的 builders 我们聚集在一起去做一些黑客松。在那个年代，你只要愿意干事，你只要坚持下来，你是有流量的。那今天不是这个逻辑，今天很卷，很内卷。但在那个年代就没什么人愿意干这事儿，你只要愿意去干，你就能赢。比如说，我们再往下， 在2019年的 GDC， 我们在 Game Developer Conference， 就那个年代其实没有那么多人会去叫什么的去做区块链游戏。那个年代我们也根本买不起一个 booth， 我们聚集在一起更多的是为了去薅空投，那个不叫空投啊，去薅这个 VC， 就是薅这种风投，薅一点吃的，薅点喝的，我们就会聚集在一起。那个年代我们看到的一些 GameFi， 比如说区块链游戏啊，比如说 Hong X Infinity 的创始人 Gabby YGG 的创始人，就那个年代大家聚在一起，就是大家就在讨论说，哎呀，我们整个行业如果有一天我们能买得起一个 booth， 就是在 GDC 在如此成熟的游戏产业能够买得起一个摊位，我们就非常幸福了。但是没有，就那个年代我们大家都买不起，大家只能去一些风投的家里面去免费拿些空投，搞点吃的喝的，因为我们连租个场地都租不起。但是那个时候的一些 builders 都非常的excited， 都非常兴奋，就非常乐观。他们依旧说，哎，我们要去菲律宾，我们要去越南，我们要把 X Infinity 变成世界上最大的一个区块链游戏。就当时我们第一眼看到，可能有点很像 Crypto Kitties， 很像迷恋猫嘛。那我们感觉是，哎，这就是一个迷恋猫的一个 NFT 的游戏。但是呢，到了这个周期，大家都做到了。最新的数据应该是2022年的 GDC， 在整个如此成熟的游戏产业，20%的摊位是区块链游戏。是 GameFi， 是 Blockchain Games， 就对于整个行业的人，就早期的这种几年前大家进来一起 build 的这些小伙伴来说，已经是一个 paradise， 已经是个天堂了。就是不光是赚钱的问题，而是我们坚信的东西最终得到一个验证，这个是非常棒的。然后那个年代其实有些大厂，比如说 Ubisoft 育碧啊，它已经在做一些区块链游戏。我记得当时做了一个时空猎人，就是像空投，就是你像吃鸡一样，你会跳到一个星球上，然后去找各种各样金币，那些金币是 NFT 及一些 token。就那个年代，其实大厂反应也非常快，他们也在做一些尝试。我们当时也做了 gamification 的 education， 我们是第一个接入 Facebook Libra 的这个开发者工具，有超过13万的流量，在1周之内进入。因为当时很多大学的教授，包括西班牙、包括比利时、包括德国很多大学的教授、开发者群体，他们对 Facebook 非常感兴趣，他们觉得 Libra 是能够带来更多流量的。然后我们当时就攒到了第一波流量在这里。然后。对，那个年代，我想归根到底去总结成一句话：你做所有的尝试，只要你坚持下去，你是有流量的。就你不讲挣不挣钱，你至少有人关注你，有人愿意用。因为那个年代大家比较纯粹，就是不信的人就是不信，信的人大家就很愿意帮助大家。那今天该怎么办呢？我们看看今天怎么 build 的。我认为有几个观点，第一就是多链应用的开发其实是趋势，然后我们需要用一些 Web3 native artifact， 需要有些 Web3 原生的这个神器。那些神器是什么？第一 NFT。所有的这些区块链游戏背后有一个核心逻辑，就是说你通过 NFT 来来进行媒体的传播，来聚集自己的社区，来进行一些创作者经济，进行共创的一个游戏。第二个 token， 你需要有自己的代币，你可以形成一个生态，用 token 形成资产化，为你做贡献的这些社区成员，为你做贡献的这些开发者，能够产生经济价值，进行创作者经济，开始做链。就是无论是我们看到从 X Infinity 到 Ronnie， 他做了自己的链；无论是我们看到那个 EtherBots， 这个是上个周期远古的一个以太坊的这个 NFT 的项目，然后他做了高藏券，就是做了自己的链，好像也拿了腾讯的投资。无论是我们看到 Crypto Kitties， 就是迷恋猫做了 Flow， 就是你最终一定会做自己的链，把自己的上下游导入到自己的链上，形成一个衍生品的形成一个衍生经济体的一个体系。到 multi-chain 进行多链的用户，就是说我们无论看到 Stepn， 它最早在 Solana， 之后到了 BSC， 就是你把两边链的用户都抓到自己的应用上，形成一个多链的用户，进行一个生态的共融 multi-chain， 然后最后到了一个 DAO 或者是 network stake， 进行凝聚共识，进行野蛮生长，进行无视战场规则的扩张。什么叫无视战场规则的扩张？任何一个公司或者产品，他们去做宣传、去做市场是有费用的，但是在道里面，你给道做贡献，很少见到有人是提供费用的。换句话说，今天 BIYC 一些明星，不管是林俊杰也好，还是一些我们看到一些明星也好，他把他的头像换成 BIYC， 是他们免费的在帮 BIYC 做宣传，但 BIYC 是不会给他们1分钱的，就是能够无视战场规则去进行扩张，才是 Web3 原生的一个神器。这些都非常重要的一些点，就是大家可以去尝试。如果你去正面的去跟Web2公司去拼，那人家有世界上最聪明的人，人家有最厉害的市场经费，人家有最好的一个垄断体系，你凭什么去跟人竞争，对吧？我们需要一些 Web3 native artifact，Web3 原生的神器。第二个点是 AI 的极化时代，它的生产力正在进行爆发。就是今天 Of course， 大家都在用 ChatGPT。我们用 ChatGPT 去问它各种各样的问题，比如说 ，Helping me create smart contract for GameFi in Solidity， 就是我用Solidity 去写一个 GameFi， 它会帮我写一份智能合约。然后呢，这个 smart contract 这个智能合约里面包含哪些内容，它会一点点帮它给展示出来。但是呢，还不够，我会一点点去 push 它，就是说加入更多的游戏性，让它变得更有趣。然后啪开始写入更多的代码，让这个 GameFi 变得更有趣。然后还不够，我会问他说：“你为什么觉得这些 feature 这些应用可以叫什么的是更有游戏性的，可以 suitable for true gamers， 是能够让真正的游戏者觉得它更有意思。”他啪还会作为产品经理给你分析说：“哎，我觉得这些 feature 加进去，它变得更有意思。”然后还在继续 push ChatGPT 说：“你能不能让这个游戏更有意思一点？能不能加入更多有意思的一些内容？”然后他已经开始给我做 RPG 了，对吧？已经开始说，哎，有一些剑，有一些盾，有一些这个生命药水，然后有一些角色，有一些法师，有一些叫什么的 intern 的这个warrior 战士。法师 rogue 有不同的职业角色，就已经开始尝试给你做一些 RPG 的 game 了。像这样的 AI 的极化时代，会让生产力大大的爆发。换句话说，你一个会 ChatGPT 能够写代码的程序员，可能是比以前100个普通的员工更有用。那这样的一个 AI 极化时代，其实是个造神的时代，厉害的人变得更厉害，差的人变得更差，这是个极化时代。那在极化时代肯定要更好的用好 AI 了。然后最后一个点其实是更多的需求导向逐渐走向成熟。我认为这个产业啊，它一定是要有更多需求导向并且走向成熟的东西。你要么去卷用户，比如说 X Infinity 跟 Stepn 就是在卷用户这条路，你至少有用户嘛。比如说峰值的 X Infinity 是有270万的活跃玩家的。你要么去卷盈利，比如说 MetaMask、Nansen、OpenSea， 他们盈利能力都非常棒。比如说 MetaMask 每一天的峰值抽水是150万美金。每一天，那从哪里来？就从 MetaMask Swap 来，它有一个这种 Swap 这种桥，就你要么去卷用户，要么去卷盈利。那最后一点，你什么都不能卷，去卷破圈效应。比如说我们看到的 NFT， 有 BIYC， 有 Azuki， 有 FantaBear， 他们尝试在连接 Web2 跟 Web3 的世界。就无论如何，你要去卷一个东西，这个市场已经越来越成熟，越来越需求导向。你如果做不到这一点，很容易被市场淘汰。最后一点就是新时代的 Web3 的生态与思考，讲快一点。第一个观点是地缘崛起，这个世界地缘对抗已经越来越严重了。中国、美国、俄罗斯，世界上这些大国就是对抗性已经越来越强了。任何一个项目跟企业都是一个生态位，你要选择一个适合你自己去发展的生态位。那我们最近其实在中东北非地区做了很多尝试，从我们叫 Web3 的丝绸之路了。就我自己去年在中东北非走过10几个国家，我前段时间又在中东做了很久的一些尝试。比如我们从以太坊上海，就是我们Chain ID在这儿 ，Vitalik 还有 Looping， 还有前美国的驻华大使参与的这个活动，包括 Rebase Ethereum Hackathon， 就是直接拿到以太坊基金会赞助的这些活动，在越南、在印度尼西亚、在大理、在阿布扎比、在巴基斯坦、在利雅得、在迪拜、在 Cash 就土耳其的 Cash， 在伊斯坦布尔，在迪拜，在佩特拉就是约旦的佩特拉，在埃及，在非洲，在丹麦，就所有的这些国家，我自己去走过，我去看过当地最大的开发者社区，我去跟他们连接起来，我知道开发者真正的 builder 在哪里，这个非常重要。你需要一个叙事，你需要一种连接性，你能够把这个世界你想要站的生态位把它连接起来。如果大家未来想要去中东北非的任何国家，欢迎来找我，我们可以有很多深度的合作。这个是需要你自己去探索去走的，我们认为非常有战略价值。太多活动就不说了，因为这些都是图片，就是我只能挑小部分的，比如说币安的，比如说跟阿里的，跟 Flow 的。能下一页吗？跳一跳，这些都来不及讲了。Solidity 并不完美，然后 Code is Law， Code is God， 对。跳一跳，然后简单观点就来说，我认为未来是一个极化时代，就厉害的人会越来越强，差的人会越来越差。AI 是生产力的爆发，它是突破上限；区块链是改变生产关系，是规则透明，是守住底线。最后如果有赛博朋克，就一定会有夜之城，这个是非常好看的一个动漫，就是说混乱但是有机会，年轻人还有希望，还能够改变命运。最后一张 PPT 就是说，我们看到了 Web3， 我们看到了 AI， 我们看到一个伟大的时代正在到来。路止于此，海始于斯，就人类正在往虚拟世界进行一个迁徙。我认为赛博朋克的天空之城已经扬帆起航。谢谢大家。
OK， 谢谢吴总的精彩分享，也给我们回顾了很多早期非常有意思的故事，并且展望了未来 Web3 生态未来发展的一些潜在的可能性和未来的趋势。OK， 那我们下个环节，我们有请到 MultiChain 联合创始人 Alfred 徐为我们分享原生多链应用的展望，大家掌声欢迎。
Hello everyone, and very glad to be here and discuss about native multi-chain applications. And thankful for have a chance to introduce our multi-chain project. My English is not good enough, so please allow me to read my manuscript. Okay. Okay. Multi-chain's asset cross-chain protocols are commonly known as third-party assets bridges. But we call multi-chain a commonly set of multi-chain interactive protocols stakes because it enables not only the flow of crypto assets between different chains, but the interaction between any chains. The multi-chain project is based on a strategic assessment of the future development. Its design reflects the resulting insights. We believe that a universal inter-chain interaction scheme is necessary for the sustainable growth of the multi-chain ecosystem. Okay, multi-chain believes for a multi-chain future in the blockchain industry. With the emergence of new blockchain projects, each with unique feature and the ability to adapt to different application scenarios, it is unlikely that only one blockchain will dominate the market. Therefore, we think a future with a complex multi-chain application innovation that includes many independent blockchains with different technical systems, as well as multi-chain application environments around the different technical systems. Some of these blockchains could serve as general-purpose computing platforms, and the other be application-specific. In addition, we think that blockchain will need to interact with other information systems. Let's move on to the topic of consensus mechanisms. It is the consensus mechanism that makes the blockchain more than just information technology. While breaking geographic boundaries, blockchain has established a new form of consensus sovereignty. The consensus mechanism also leads to the gap between the different ecosystems due to consensus inconsistency. Different blockchain operation independently from each other, which makes the blockchain industry increasingly fragmented. We call it as consensus isolation. However, this trend towards fragmentation must to be solved. Only then can we promote the development of the entire blockchain industry. Based on its analysis of future trend, multi-chain believes that solution for inter-chain interaction must support the vast majority of chains and enable interaction between any existing chain without requiring permission or modification to their consensus. To achieve this, multi-chain has selected two underlying technologies: MPC-TSS, a threshold signature technology based on multiple SQL computing, and ZKP, a zero-knowledge proof technology. MPC-TSS enables the building of inter-chain interaction using signature algorithm and can support ECDSA and EDDSA, which are used by more than 99% of blockchains. On the other hand, ZKP technology provides solutions from the perspective of consensus mechanism. Multichain has verified that ZKP can be used for blockchains that adopt POS and POW. Interchain interaction requirements go beyond the asset cross-chain transactions. Just like multichain is more than just a cross-chain bridge. The transmission of information and transaction status from the source chain to the destination chain is necessary for the realization of crypto assets across chains. This need led to the development of a general practice for meeting the interaction requirements of data and logic between chains, which we refer to as the data layer protocol. Next, load layer. Excuse me. Yes. Load layer encapsulates the loading requirements from the source chain to the destination chain. The lowest level is the trust layer, which enables connection between different chains, such like fiber optics between different networks. This is the framework for interchain interaction proposed by multichain MBI, a multiple blockchain interaction architecture. It is an open framework that allows users to try protocols on different layers to build their own up-layer protocols or applications. Yes, based on the above, the objective of multichain is to build interchain interaction solutions that are universal, open, trustless, and permissionless. Multichain has developed several interaction protocols to meet different interaction requirements within the MBI framework. These protocols include asset cross-chain protocols for the application layer, which consist of one-to-one cross-chain bridges and one-to-n cross-chain routers, as well as NFT cross-chain bridges. At the data layer, multichain has introduced inaugural, a generic message cross-chain protocol. Additionally, multichain has two sets of trust layer protocols, FastMPC and ZK router, which are built on MPC TSS and ZKP respectively. While in some application scenarios, both can be applied, such as asset cross-chain, but there are also application scenarios where one of them enjoys an advantage. And multichain has used its asset cross-chain protocol to establish an extensive value flow network, which connects 18 blockchains and forms an ecosystem with a market capitalization exceeding 952 billion USD, over which is 99.26% of the total market capitalization. The sum of TVL on this multi-chain network is over 44 billion USD, according for 85.28% of the total TVL. With the support for over 3,517 assets to circulate on this network, multichain has achieved cross-chain transfer for crypto assets valued at more than 101 billion USD to date. About 60% of the cross-chain is done through multichain every day. Multichain has created a multi-chain application innovation support 14 blockchain by inaugural technology. The latest version, inaugural v7, introduced a fallback mechanism that enables the development of complex application logic based on multiple chains. Additionally, inaugural supports over 2 billion liquidity for application built on this platform. To simplify the application development process, Multichain has launched several tools and quick solutions. For instance, using defects, the user can easily deploy their own cross-chain bridge by simply filling in the required parameters on the web page. Other tools and solutions include faster router, which allows the faster construction of cross-chain swap and lending, and multi-chain depth deployment solution. The relationship between an application and its environment is mutually promotion. From blockchain as an application to single chain deployment, single chain operation, and then to multi-chain deployment, single chain operation. The next stage of application development should be multi-chain deployment and multi-chain operation. We call it as a native multi-chain application, which can be compared to a network application based on multiple chains. Anycall and its connected multi-chain application innovation are designed to support the development and deployment of native multi-chain applications. Native multi-chain applications are a set of contracts deployed on different chains that can be called through Anycall to build a complete business logic. There are some features of it. Firstly, they provide a consistent service experience for users across different chains. For example, there is no price discrepancy for the same trade pair on different chains of DEX. Secondly, these applications virtualize resources on different chains, including asset liquid and computing power. This allows for future innovation of business logic on top of these resources. Native multi-chain application offer greater application and business value by supporting more complex business logic. Furthermore, native multi-chain application can solve the issue of value fragmentation, while cross-chain bridge addresses the problem of the asset flow between different chains. But they didn't address the fragmentation problem of assets on different chains. With native multi-chain application can be used to integrate the liquidity of assets on different chains into a virtual whole. Native multi-chain application can increase business value by tapping into multi-chain ecosystem. For example, Anycall's multi-chain NFT insurance scheme allows project parties to insure NFTs to users on multiple chains at the same time, similar to a regional store transferring into a global store, which brings greater business value. Moreover, incorporating cross-chain behavior into business logic can lead to the development of more interesting applications. To push ahead more innovation native multi-chain application, Multichain has established an eco-fund named Multichainverse. The fund offers several of incentives, including developer grants and accelerator programs. Multichain has also participated in the Cosmos ecosystem to integration external assets into the Cosmos network and enable this value flow within the Cosmos ecosystem using IBC. We are pleased to announce our extensive partnership with Iris Hub. With Iris Hub's token modules support and the upcoming EVM integration, it will serve as a crucial gateway for external assets to enter Cosmos and connect with the external value network established by Multichain. Multichain and Iris Hub will collaborate closely to accomplish this goal, and we will provide incentives to the R&D team work on this project. We are also offering equal incentives to projects that support these assets. So if you are interested in keeping up with the latest improvements in multi-chain, we have compiled a list of information channels that you can follow. Welcome you to check them out and stay up to date on all things multi-chain. Thank you. That's all.
谢谢，感谢徐总分享的前沿观点。我们分享了未来 Web3 应用开发的一些潜在的一些可能性。OK， 好的，感谢3位嘉宾的精彩分享。那下面我们就来到了我们整个活动的下半场的环节 ，Cosmos 生态的分享专场。那 Cosmos 是开放、高度可扩展的区块链的网络，也是全球最大、最为知名的区块链开发者生态之一。那今天活动现场也汇聚了来自世界各地的 Cosmos 开发者生态团队，他们将就各个 Cosmos 生态热门的话题分享自己独到的见解。那我们首先将邀请到的是来自 Inclusion 的联合创始人，同时也是 Cosmos 的 OG Zaki Mania， 为我们带来主题分享。他的演讲主题是 Cosmos 技术发展和生态演进。Let's welcome Zaki。
Hello. All right, my name is Zeki. I've been working on Cosmos since 2014. I run a validator. I have a protocol called Sommelier built on the Cosmos stack. This is a bit of an overview, and it sort of assumes no familiarity with Cosmos. So Cosmos is an old project. We've been around since 2014, working on, the work started with Tendermint. It's now become a much much more expansive, much wider project. It's also sort of interesting that we've had this resurgence, we've had multiple resurgences of relevance, which is somewhat unusual for crypto projects, which typically come into existence, get a lot of attention, and then eventually fade away or replaced by newer projects. Cosmos continues to be relevant in 2023. So this is just a little bit of this forgotten Twitter account that has 218 followers represents a bunch of videos of very early crypto people. Informal has also been doing a YouTube series about Cosmos history that's quite good. Really encourage people who are coming into crypto now to go back and watch a lot of these old presentations, listen to people from the Cosmos community talking about the origins of proof of stake. This has been a big year for proof of stake, where proof of stake has now become the consensus protocol and the consensus mechanism that most value transfer in crypto is actually using now. But it all started back in 2014. Cosmos in many ways originated a lot of the ideas that are widespread in cryptocurrency right now. On-chain governance, community pool funds, proof of stake, adapting academic Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus to blockchains, interoperability. These are all things that we pioneered, but the reality of Cosmos is in many ways the business side has not kept up with the technical innovation. But Cosmos is relentlessly focused on being a differentiated ecosystem. We aren't just another alt EVM. We aren't just another layer 2. We are a fairly comprehensive system about how you obtain sovereignty as a developer to build an infrastructure that you like. We've also been consistently putting out incremental pieces of the technology. So, Tendermint was released and started being used in production in 2018. Cosmos SDK came out in 2019, IBC in 2021. We are extremely organizationally decentralized. Research, implementation, and go-to-market of key technologies are almost always conducted across multiple organizations, which can be very inefficient, but it is robust and decentralized. So sort of the core thesis of Cosmos has been this idea of application-specific blockchains. Now, one thing that I will acknowledge as a reality is we actually have very few application-specific blockchains in Cosmos. Many of our blockchains are actually much more thought of as general-purpose blockchains. But we are seeing more and more application-specific blockchains starting to take off. Stride is a application-specific blockchain for liquid staking. It has sort of been taking off recently. Sommelier is an application-specific blockchain for DeFi strategies, and we're all very excited about DYDX coming to Cosmos and building an application-specific blockchain for perpetual trading. Another big piece of sort of the Cosmos picture is these collaborations. Beyonce, Iris have all been working on, Stargaze have all been working on this game of NFTs, somewhat independently of many of the other Cosmos organizations, trying to figure out what interoperability in the Cosmos technology stack can uniquely offer for NFTs. So ultimately, why build an application-specific blockchain? We believe that the end state of decentralized applications is going to be some form of application-specific blockchain. We believe that the full integration of economics, MEV, transaction pricing, resource pricing at the application layer is the best way to deliver state-of-the-art user experiences in sort of the Web3 setting. So Tendermint, now Comet, it was a first of its kind system. So it was the first BFT consensus algorithm to operate in a permissionless setting in a production. Tendermint has been through a lot of battle testing. Everything from the collapse of Terra to the rise of Terra to many other systems. It's one of the most battle tested consensus layers out there. Tendermint is in more places than you think. Binance Chain, Tezos, Aptos, OKX, Crypto.com all use Tendermint as part of their stack. The recent release of ABCI++, which is a key enabling technology for people like DYDX and what they're building in terms of building an in-memory order book, represents a reinvigoration of sort of Cosmos core development. But IBC is the flagship thing that Cosmos is known for. So the idea of IBC, so we just saw a bunch of presentations about different interoperability protocols. What makes IBC different and special? So one key piece of IBC has been the idea of building for light clients first. So IBC is a protocol that enables no additional trust assumptions, allows everyone in the who builds with the Cosmos technology stack and increasingly other technology stacks to integrate into this network of bridges. One of the most important things that's sort of having this technical approach is that anyone who builds with the Cosmos stack can immediately sort of connect to the network and get benefits. So if you build with the Cosmos stack, you can get liquid staking from Stride by connecting to Stride over IBC. You can get liquidity for your tokens using Osmosis. All of these things are sort of powerful, important. So we really believe that like sort of this independent network of fault-isolated chains is probably the right architecture for moving the future of finance onto Web3. So these are somewhat old slides, but we have this vast network. It tends to do $300 million to $1 billion of value transfer per month. It was much higher, sort of, in the bull market of 2022, but it's still very robust. It is still one of the most, unlike other bridging ecosystems, there is no sort of IBC biz dev team. There's no IBC token. Instead, it is a sort of public good network that we all build on top of. And then, one of the things that Cosmos is most known for is the Cosmos Hub and the Atom token, which has honestly been a somewhat, complex and difficult story about, how it finds its way. So the Cosmos Hub is conceived as this sort of port city into the Cosmos. Like one of the biggest utilities of the Cosmos Hub is atoms are listed on many exchanges, supported by many custodians. You can buy atoms and then use those atoms to bridge out into the wider IBC ecosystem. So still the major value flow in and out of Cosmos happens through the Cosmos Hub. The Cosmos Hub was designed to evolve. So the idea of launching with on-chain governance, the idea of launching with the community pool was for the Cosmos Hub to be created by the community and then owned by the community, involved from the community. What the value accrual mechanism of atoms, what the purpose of atoms in the wider Cosmos has always been up to the community. But we do have this new feature, interchain security, that has recently launched. So interchain security allows the Cosmos Hub to designate other chains that will run on the same validator set as the Cosmos Hub over IBC. So we have chains like Neutron. Neutron is a sort of very exciting smart contract platform that is launching as the first interchain secured chain. It should be launching in about a month. And it basically allows us to horizontally scale Tendermint using IBC. So transactions are not having to compete with each other. You get fault isolation. So if something goes wrong with Neutron, it doesn't halt the Cosmos Hub. If something goes wrong with the Cosmos Hub, it doesn't halt Neutron. Actually. And so this is going to give the Cosmos ecosystem this sort of new flavor, new features, new opportunities to integrate around Atom. In many ways, I think of the modular architecture as sort of the end game of Cosmos. I've been working with the Celestia team for many years. There was this original idea called Supertanker that Jay and Ethan came up with that was eventually sort of deprioritized to first focus on IBC. But there is this huge opportunity with the sort of emerging modular stack. We also see that other blockchain ecosystems are becoming much more like Cosmos. So you see a lot of roll-up, like the roll app concept, roll-up as a service, the ability for making it easier for everybody, for developers to spin up their own chains is coming to essentially every blockchain. And that's, I think, probably one of the more exciting things about Cosmos. We still are trying to figure out what the future of the Cosmos Hub is, but we do feel that liquid staking and its increased adoption are an important piece of the puzzle. Stride has proposed essentially the first kind of try the allocator in practice idea where the Cosmos Hub has been asked to provide liquidity to liquid staking and as part of Stride joining interchain security. And MEV continues to be like one of the most important things that Cosmos is exploring with Skip and their sort of protocol-owned builders. The idea of the scheduler as a multi-chain MEV capture mechanism. These things continue to be sort of the areas that Cosmos is exploring, whether or not, sort of across many chains. So the core values of Cosmos, sovereignty and interoperability, continue to be expressed across many chains. This is the sort of core values of our system. And Cosmos continues to be sort of open source, available for anyone to take it in any direction that they want. And we will be seeing many more Cosmos chains launching this year, taking Cosmos in new and exciting directions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Zaki. 感谢 Zaki 为我们介绍了 Cosmos 生态现在最新的一些动态，以及当前整个生态的一些情况。那么接下来下一个环节，我们有请到的是边界智能创始人兼 CEO Harry 的曹上台分享 ArisNet Cosmos 跨链 NFT 枢纽，大家掌声欢迎。
Hello, everyone. I'm Harriet from Bianjie, ArisNet, and Cosmos. Bianjie is this morning's session organizer, so I would like first to thank everyone for your coming. Actually, for many of you know Bianjie and ArisNet in the Cosmos ecosystem. You know us like from probably 2017, and we are very active Cosmos. Community builder. And actually, before COVID, we organized Cosmos-related events in like Wanxiang's global blockchain summit, which is one of the biggest in China. And so now it's really quite heartwarming. Like after 3 years, we are able to gather like to talk about the Cosmos and have this offline like meetup. Actually, I found out today we have the simultaneous interpretation for the session. So I'm going to make it easy for myself and also for the Chinese-speaking community members. I'm going to start to present my talk in Chinese. 边界智能，我们是2016年我们就开始进入到就是这个区块链的领域，然后呢，从2017年我们就开始参与到了这个 Cosmos 技术开源技术的开发。我们非常自豪，我们是 Cosmos 的技术当中，包括像这个ICS 团体，那么这是 IBC 来支持这个同质化资产，然后呢，也有呢，包括现在这个 ICS 721，这个是跨链 NFT 的协议，是我们的团队非常自豪，是我们跟全球 这个 Cosmos 的开源社区一起把它给开发出来的，然后我们也是在这个企业级上面做了很多的工作。一会儿呢，我会分享就是 Cosmos 它有些非常好的一些特性，然后我们为这个 Cosmos 企业版、企业级的这个产品推出了非常多的一些模块，能够支持大家打造和能够满足企业级需求的 application specific blockchain 应用专有链。除此之外呢，我们呢也除了作为一个基础设施的一个建设者，我们也非常专注，希望把创新的技术能够用到先进的这个分布式商业的应用场景当中。所以我们有在支持金融监管，我们呢也在服务全球先进的数字银行，同时呢，我们也在采用这个跨链技术，在支持像这些基于 NFT 的应用，能够在全球能够进行非常丰富的一些业务场景的一些支持。另外，大家如果在知道，就是在国内，在中国也有这个 Blockchain Service Network 区块链服务网络。那么我们是这个 BSN 当中最大的这个开放许可链文昌链的建设者。文昌链也是用 Cosmos SDK 开发的，现在呢支持了在中国最多的 Web3 application， 已经现在支持有将近3000个，more than almost 3,000 Web3 distributed applications on Wanxiang chain, which is in mainland China. 其实刚才 Zaki 已经非常快的把这个 Cosmos 做了一个 overview， 然后呢，这边我用中文稍微讲一下 Cosmos， 我们非常自豪，就是我们给这一个行业所带来的3个重要的技术创新，它其中包括 ，Oops，let me go back。 Oops. Trying to work with this thing. 2014年。这个 Tendermint 的公司引擎非常的强大，然后呢，这个也是被现在全球最多的 Proof of Stake 网络所采用的。2017年这个 Cosmos SDK， 然后刚才 Jackie 讲了很多的 Application Specific Blockchain。那么 Cosmos SDK 它具有的非常好的优越的一个能力，就是非常的模块化，非常的开放。那么它能够允许这个开发者能够在上面构建自己的区块链。然后呢，也能够非常容易的参与到这个开源开发当中，贡献自己的一些模块，能够促进这一个整个区块链行业的一个快速发展。像刚才提到的，我们其实就为这个 Cosmos SDK 有贡献这个跨链 NFT 的这个模块，当然也还包括很多企业级的一些支持。另外，2019年 IBC Inter-Blockchain Communication 这个呢，也是被大家看作是跨链的黄金准则 （Golden Standard）， 它是我们能够去促进非常高效、非常开放、非常开放、非常透明的这个跨链连接的一个协议。刚才其实谈到，其实已经有很久就是没有机会，就大家能够在线下的会议，包括全球 Cosmos 的这个开发者，能够有机会在一起交流。那么我这边呢，讲了一点点老的历史，就是在 Iris Hub 在 launch 之前，也是2019年的时候，那么一些老的一些历史。Iris Hub 是 Cosmos 生态当中最早的链之一。最早的，第二个，或者是，然后其实我们是在2016年9月份，边界团队也是跟万象，今天这个会议的组织者，大家会看到这个上面写的是万象区块链，还有 HashKey 是从2019年万象在国内组织的非常大的这个 Global Blockchain Summit， 然后也是在那个会议上，我们第一次当时听到了 Tendermint 也是当时2016年是作为当时万象的这个 GBS 的 Most Innovative Project， 然后也是在那个时候，所以我觉得 Cosmos 其实跟我们的华语社区其实也非常有关系。Cosmos Project 其实也是在2016年在上海当时 announced 的，所以在那个时候我们当时知道了 Tendermint。然后呢，2017年4月份，当时就有被 Tendermint 的团队邀请一块儿加入到 Cosmos 的 Open Source Development， 所以我们也蛮自豪。刚才提到的 Cosmos SDK， 我们呢也是除了 Tendermint 的团队之外，第二个当时开始参与到了 Cosmos SDK 的一个开发，我们也是第一个用户。2017年9月份，当时就开始在讨论说，哎，我们还要 build another hub， 因为 Cosmos Vision 就是 open， 然后呢，它会支持很多的 chain、multi chains、multi rounds。那么就是 hub 也希望它是一个非常开放、非常高效的。所以那会儿呢，就开始跟 Tendermint 的团队一起在讨论，哎，就是从一开始我们要设计另外一个 hub。当时也在想，那这个 hub 一定要给我们这个生态要有一些独有的一些价值，所以我们当时对于这个 hub 就有很多的一些设计。当时我们的想法是 ，Iris Hub 我们希望它是一个能够支撑 next generation distributed application。那么为什么说它是 next generation 呢？就是下一代，因为在那个年代，我们当时就认为，如果要支持更多的应用能够走向主流，它一定要去支持数据 data， 而且它要支持很多的 on-chain off-chain interoperability for the computing， 就是链上链下互操作。所以这也就会看到，其实 Iris Hub 的一些特点，我们是 Cosmos 生态当中第一个开发出来 NFT 模块的。然后呢，这个因为 NFT 就是可信的数据，然后呢，我们呢也把这个 iService Module， 这个也就是促进这个链上链下互操作的这个模块带入了这个 Cosmos。当然非常开心，就2019年的3月，当时就 Cosmos Hub 和 Iris Hub 我们在3月份上线了。 这儿其实还讲了一下一些，就是 Iris Hub， 因为我们一直在觉得，在 Cosmos 生态里面，我们认为每一个 Hub 有一个 advantage， 就是它可以去 provide unique value， 就是自己独有的一些创新性 to serve the community。那么 for the Iris Hub， 像我刚才谈到的，我们更多非常关注是去支持 next gen distributed application。或者说 application blockchains， 所以就会有很多的模块是对于应用开发是有很多的支持，所以这里面有上这么2层，其实像这个on-chain governance， 这个也是 Iris Hub 第一个带到了 Cosmos 生态，那么这个能够支持区块链，在那个年代其实还是非常有挑战的，让区块链能够就是不停止服务，能够自发展的通过。governance 通过这个就是通过这个 on-chain governance 能够非常安全的做这个 smooth upgrade。然后另外在这个应用层呢，刚才也提到，包括 NFT， 包括像 iService， 包括像这个我们也是第一个把 Uniswap protocol 带入了Cosmos 的生态，开发出来的这个 CoinSwap， 现在也是在 Iris Hub 上也有。然后当然 NFT。对，围绕的应用开发作为边界本身，那么就是我们非常认为，就是包括给用户提供非常好的开发工具。所以这里面如果熟悉分布式应用开发的，大家可能看起来会比较亲切。在区块链的底层，我们也认为，就全球有着不同区域，它会围绕着监管，会有着不同的一些要求。所以在国内呢，我们更多是会面向于企业级，但是呢，我们一直非常专注，想打造像公链一样开放，但是呢又能满足中国的这个不管信息安全的要求，或者是金融监管的要求的区块链。同时呢，全球我们也是工作在这个public chain 上面。那么在我们打造了这个中间层叫 Avatar。如果大家有做 NFT 应用开发的，那么大家可以试一试这个 Avatar 这个平台，会发现通过它来开发我们的 Web3、我们的 Web3 应用是多么的便捷。不管你是一个 Web 2.0 的开发者，还是一个 Web 3.0的开发者，那么都可以非常容易的让你的用户能够享受一个甚至是一个融合式的 Web 2加 Web 3的一个用户体验。刚才也提到，就是在 Cosmos 我们非常看重的就是开放。那么对于这个多枢纽，那么对于 Iris Hub 我们的一个定位呢，就是一个 NFT Hub。这个为什么说是 NFT？ 主要就是 for 这个 trustworthy data。这个 data 它不仅仅是一个我们大家经常看到的一个简单的 PFP 一个头像，其实里面还有更多的就是促进我们的商业发展的各种的权益，然后呢，甚至对于实体、对于链外我们的这个业务流程当中的这些这些实体的这些物品。NFT 都是个非常好的技术，然后同时我们也是这个通过 Iris Hub， 其实现在连接的这些所有的链，其实它都是促进的都是 NFT 之间的 interoperability。当然这里面有一个特别的原因，因为我们也是非常专注，就是在国内在支持很多的一些企业级的应用。那么 NFT 呢，在那儿是有着非常大的一个应用市场，因为中国有着非常非常丰富的 Web 2的一些应用场景。那么他们现在已经进入到了一个阶段，希望能够用区块链的技术，用 NFT 的技术，能够更好的支撑 Web 3的一些需求，其中包括对用户权利的一个保护，对于用户资产的一个保护，能够支持用户小的个体，不管你是大企业、小企业，都能公平的参与到业务的一个合作当中来。这是通过这个 Iris Hub 在2021年我们做的一个样例，也是想跟大家分享一下。这里面呢，就是支持了中国非常著名的这一个品牌叫做荣宝斋，他们的一些实体艺术品，能够通过 Iris Hub 采用这个跨链 NFT 的技术，能够进入到全球市场，能够进行非常高效的一个全球市场的一个有序的一个流转。为什么要采用这样的一个多 Hub 的形式来支持？也是为 为了能够去更好的支持我们现在日益大家非常看重的可持续发展，就是要对于合规的一个重视。那么在于中国，那么对于网络信息，对于这些有着很多的一些特有的一些要求，所以在中国我们用文昌链这个最大的开放 open permission 的 blockchain， 可以支持这些实体艺术品他们做登记，然后呢满足在国内市场的一个扭转，但是对于全球贸易加上了 NFT 这样的一个数字化的翅膀，能够支持它非常高效、非常可信的参与到全球贸易当中。这是一个稍微更细一点的图，然后我就不多讲了。然后呢，在这里就是 Iris Hub， 我们想作为的是一个能够去支持。Yeah。我希望就是在这里面也想跟大家分享一下，围绕着 NFT 这个 Optics 这个 Cosmos 生态里面，现在也是一个运营了，已经在 Iris Hub 上已经运营了2年的一个项目。那么 Optic 刚刚 launch 了他们的 Application Specific Blockchain， 所以在这里面呢，我们也呼吁就是 Validators 钱包可以关注这样一个 Newborn Blockchain， 然后 Optic 也会采用这样的一个多链的形态，其中能够非常很好的支持围绕自己应用生态的一些新的一些治理的一些需求。这是素藏中国的同学应该也在现场。这个是在对，这个是在中国是具有最多的用户、非常丰富的资产的应用产品之一。那么，采用这个 Iris Hub 也能够支持这样的一个非常好的一个全球化的一个发展。海南国际文化艺术品交易中心也是像刚才谈到的，采用 Iris Hub， 我们可以非常好的可以去支撑在不同的这个应用领域所的需求。国内开放联盟链，全球采用这样的一个开放公链，能够支撑它非常高效的发展。我们Cosmos 的 SDK 是非常适合去做 application specific blockchain 的，所以呢，这里面我们也做了比较多的一些企业级的一些模块来支持企业级的运用，其中呢就有支持这个数字银行。然后用数字银行也像我刚才谈到的，它可以让我们的企业级围绕自己的应用需求，比如说围绕着合规、围绕着监管、围绕着业务的隐私保护，它放在公链上面可能很难达到这样的一个需求的满足，但是呢，采用 application specific blockchain， 那么我们就可以按照我们自己业务需求，按照我们自己的一个 community 来 build 我们自己的这样的一个应用链，但是呢，又能够让它的资产，不管是 NFT 或者是 FT， 比如说像这个 stable coin， 就可以通过这个跨链枢纽，能够非常好的去满足我们的合规的需求，同时呢，又能够去享受公链所给带来的像 DeFi 啊，像这样的一些非常丰富的一些去中心化的服务，这样非常分布式的一些金融服务。最后还想再一次的就是 call for participation to the game of NFTs。这个 GON 刚才其实 HKCEC 也有谈到，这是 Cosmos 现在生态我们正在进行的一个非常大的一个黑客松。它分2个阶段，前一个阶段呢是一个网络攻防赛刚刚结束，所以这里面呢也想就是祝贺这些获奖者。接下来马上我们就要开启第2个阶段，第2个阶段呢就是希望能够就是帮助大家能够采用跨链 NFT 的协议来做更多的创新应用。里面现在我已经听说了很多很好的一些主意，包括跨链的一些借贷，围绕着 NFT 的。然后呢，希望大家可以关注这个比赛，同时呢，如果是开发者，也可以加入到这个比赛里面。这个比赛的奖金非常的优厚，这里面也非常感谢我们这些非常好的赞助商，其中有包括 AWS 也给出了非常 generous 的，就给了我们非常就是慷慨的一个资助。所以开发者希望大家关注这个比赛，现在正在开放报名，在第2个阶段当中。其实，在看这个 Iris Hub 在2017年我们开始设计的时候，这就是我们当时给它为什么取这样的一个名字，因为我们希望 Iris Hub 它就像这个 faithful messenger between the heaven and the earth， 这个 Iris goddess。我们希望她承担的角色就是这样一个可信忠诚的一个信使，能够促进这个 blockchain 能够更好的服务我们丰富的这个商业的一个场景。好，我的分享就到这里，谢谢大家。
好，谢谢 Harriet。Harriet 带领的边界智能技术团队一直以来都是Cosmos Earth Hub 所这个核心的代码贡献者。那今天呢，他也为我们带来了这种跨链 NFT 最前沿的一些技术分享。我们感谢 Harriet。下面那我们就有请到了另外一位嘉宾，Stargaze 的桥接的工程师 Michael Scotto 带来解放 NFT Stargaze 的跨链 NFT 之旅。大家掌声欢迎。
Hey, this is NFTs Emancipated Interchain NFTs with Stargaze. What you will learn in this talk. So first, going to do kind of a user guide for approaching the development of interchain protocols, but more focusing on the human element. We're going to do an overview of Stargaze's interchain portfolio. So this includes ICS 721, Ethereum to Stargaze airdrop, and of course, game of NFTs. So then we're going to talk about Stargaze's interchain vision. So how interchain tools are integral to the future of Stargaze. Finally, what does an interchain future look like for everyone? So multi-chain indexers, challenges and opportunities of NFTs across chains. So a little bit about me. I am a bridge engineer at Stargaze, so this is my focus. My education, so I got an MS in information security at Carnegie Mellon, and I'm actually an MBA candidate at HKCEC, so I will be coming back here. In my past experience, my first role was at UBS in the summer of 2008, and later in the former Lehman Brothers building at Barclays Capital. So my career was kind of formed during the financial crisis. And also I've had some various roles in fintech and web tech. So in 2021, I kind of did this, I'm going to call it economics deep dive. I really just had a simple question, which is, what is value? So that's not really an easy question to answer. Not one book can give you that answer. So in crypto, we are confronted with this question pretty much every single day. And then when you go into interchain, it gets a bit more complex. So the question of value as it goes about the interchain. So what is Stargaze? Stargaze is an NFT-focused blockchain in the Cosmos ecosystem. And we have this here, very lovely UI. We love to focus on the user experience. So Stargaze builds for its users. We have this nice quote from Ambito. Before Stargaze Zone, I thought NFTs were kind of silly. After Stargaze Zone, NFTs are possibly my favorite thing in Web3, and we love to hear that. Bad Kids is our most successful project. It's currently about $1 million in sales. And this person felt the need to get a tattoo of a bad kid on their arm. So Stargaze is what we call playing the interchain long game. So our original vision was that interchain is the future, and that's why we chose to reside in the Cosmos. But it takes time. We've been working on ICS 721 since November 2021, and that's kind of like the ancient times in crypto. So it takes collaboration because there's multiple teams and chains. So interchain, it's what the people want. So as a bridge engineer, I have the privilege of meeting all these different teams and chains and kind of seeing the culture, the different cultures that are in the different chains. But they all ask the same question, which is how, aka when, can I move my NFT between chains? This is partly a design question and partly a technical question because we want to make the right tools, that are going to bring the best user experience, but at the same time, they have to work and they have to be robust. So this brings us back to the original Stargaze dream, which is Stargaze, the NFT black hole. So kind of this big place where all the NFTs, all the creators, all the users, all the liquidity is kind of going to this central location. But what does it mean to be an NFT black hole? So firstly, it's where the party is at. So we want to have a passionate and lively community. We want you to have fun on the Stargaze platform. Liquidity, so sustain a robust marketplace. Freedom of movement, so you can move NFTs on-chain and off-chain quite easily. And finally, attract and retain. So creators, users, liquidity, they'll want to come to Stargaze because it offers the best, the premium NFT features. So how to achieve this? We kind of balance the two paradoxes. So firstly, Stargaze dedicates significant resources to develop open source interchain tools, but at the same time, Stargaze's success is going to be measured by its activity on its own chain. And then paradox number two, which is we want to increase the freedom of movement for NFTs, yet we want creators to stay at Stargaze. So how to build an interchain protocol, some life lessons. Oh, whoops. Okay. Building interchain protocol rules number 1. You can't build an interchain protocol by yourself. So the ICS 721 protocol spec was originally designed by IrisNet. We developed the CosmWasm implementation with EK, and Arc Protocol actually executed the first NFT transfer between Stargaze and Juno. And finally, we have Gravity Bridge, hosted the ICS 721 working group, and then the hackers tested for security at Game of NFTs. And we actually put out this tweet just to kind of show the history and all the people that were involved in the design of this protocol. So rule number 2, organize a community to keep stakeholders in sync. So there's a lot of different people that were involved with this. So we partnered with Gravity Bridge, kind of a neutral third party. And they created the ICS 721 working group. And through this group, we got to learn about all the challenges and conversations that need to be had. Rule number 3. In a group effort, someone has to take the initiative. So we have all these different chains, all these different teams. And so Stargaze is kind of leading the way. We're kind of providing some of the initiative, but we're taking a step back to allow for collaboration. And finally, rule number 4, my personal favorite, diplomacy goes a long way when there's multiple parties involved. So there's all these different chains, and they all want something different. So instead of just saying, hey, this is how it is, and you have to do it this way, kind of work with those teams, listen to come up with more universal solutions. So collaboration is part friendly disposition, but it's also part technical competence, so you make simple enough protocols that people can understand. ICS 721, so the code is there. You can check it out. So how does it work? So we have 2 bridges. So we have chain A with a bridge, and we have chain B with a bridge. So we have this NFT, this bad kid, and we're going to send it to bridge A. It's locked on bridge A. And what it will do is now we'll send a packet using this relayer here, and it's going to send a representation to chain B, which will use that information and mint an NFT on its chain as a representation. So what is the packet structure that's getting sent across? Pretty simple. You have, it's JSON packet. And like I said before, we have the SDK NFT version and the CosmWasm, but they're both sending the same packet. The class ID tracks where the NFT has gone across chains. Token IDs and token URIs, no surprise there. Pretty much just information about the NFT. And we made some token data and class data which contain chain-specific metadata, so it's flexible per chain. And this diagram kind of shows how the class ID gets shaped. So in the beginning, we have this contract address 0xabc. As it's going between the different chains, we prepend which chain it came from. And then when we go back, we kind of pop that back off, and you end up with the 0xabc at the end. So I had this idea, especially now being in Hong Kong, of ICS 721 and interchain travel. So metaphorically, each chain is kind of like its own country. They have their own rules, their own culture. So there's some data impedance where, say, chain A has this royalty field, but chain B might read it in a different way or have a different field. So, and like I said before, there's different communities in each chain. So you have to have an idea of how you go from chain A to chain B and how the data gets translated. And it's kind of like how certain visas can get you from one country to another country, but not from other countries. Yeah, the Ethereum to Stargaze airdrop. So this is a fun one for me. We recently launched this. So what does it accomplish? We can, instead of just migrating data, we can migrate communities, because people are the ones that are using this at the end of the day. And we could target users on other chains via existing communities. So usually you get an airdrop. You think it's some junk, unsolicited airdrop, and you might see it as spams. But when you get it from a community you're already part of, or a collection you're already part of, you're much more likely to claim it. So how does it work? Simply a user from Ethereum connects their MetaMask and Kepler wallet. They do a double signature. They send to the contract, and the code is there if you want to check it out yourself. And we partnered with the Wrecked Wolf and Trippy Wolf holders to kind of come up with this fun UI here. And yeah, the users loved it. So one quote: "Thanks for the free money, enough to buy a shrimp avatar. Truly multi-chain and worked like a charm." So game of NFTs, no surprise there. So motivation for game of NFTs. Set up a testnet to stress test ICS 721 protocol as a final test for security. So this is coming when the protocol is already developed. So we formed a group, or we were part of a group with Interchain Foundation, Cosmos Hub, IrisNet, Juno, OmniFlix, Uptick, all the big names. So Prop 94 on Cosmos Hub, we raised together 200,000 USD as prizes. And essentially, as soon as this hack kicked off, the drama per second reached critical levels. So our friend McCall of the Wild, I actually got to meet him in Austin. He kind of injected, you could say, a virus into the game of NFTs itself, bringing the whole thing down. So basically, no one could do anything, and it was quite innovative. And not everyone was so happy. So Germoon said this was entirely unnecessary to do on the active channel of the testnet. And Mr. T said it was still a pain for all participants. And of course, you could see in the circle there, McCall the Wild got the proverbial thumbs down on Discord. But hackers to the rescue, as they always do. So Germoon came up with this self-relaying, and he was able to share that code. So people could essentially just relay around the broken relayers, with the end results that ICS 721 is battle-tested. So this quote from our friend Mr. T over at Arc Protocol, he said, "It is absolutely bulletproof." So despite the relayer issue, which was mostly related to IBC, we found out, kind of matching our expectations from auditors at Oak Security, that it was pretty much unbreakable. And lastly, kind of on a bigger side, the multi-chain indexer future. So some thought experiments for Interchain. So one time, I told my friend about ICS 721 and how you could transfer NFTs, and he said, can I just mint my NFT on 2 chains at the same time? And that kind of caught me off guard, but actually, he has a point. Why wouldn't you do that? So think of the provenance of an NFT in a multi-chain world where there's multiple chains. So the provenance of an NFT is its flow within and across chains. So 2 identical NFTs, such as in the case what my friend just mentioned, can be disambiguated based on which one was minted first, regardless of chain. So which NFT is the definitive one? So solution 1, number 1, might be mint derivatives of the same collection on different chains, thereby increasing the original's value. So we see these kind of derivative collections. Solution number 2, rely on social consensus of the community to figure out which one is the original provenance. And we see both of these in play today. But can we do a little bit better? And the answer is yes, we can. So NFTs should be non-fungible. If your NFT exists on chain A, you don't expect the same NFT to exist on chain B without your knowledge. So enter the multi-chain indexer. A multi-chain indexer would maintain a reference to NFTs from multiple different chains. So the multi-chain indexer would know which chains are the most legitimate. So it might look something like this. You've got, let's say, 3 chains here, chain A, chain B, chain C, and you have an NFT A, but then you have a copy of it A prime on chain B, you have A double prime on chain C. This user simply wants to know, hey, where's the original NFT A? So what does it do? That person will make a request to the multi-chain indexer, and that multi-chain indexer has references to all the chains and knows what's going on, and it can simply respond, NFT A lives on chain A. So this multi-chain indexer simplifies that experience for the user. And lastly, we can get a little bit fancy. So let's say we did something like reverse image search, and you have your NFT on chain A, but someone made a slightly different one on chain B. We could run this type of image search, and it would tell you, hey, there's an NFT that's very similar to the one you just minted over here. So you would know kind of how unique your NFT is. And going forward in the future, the blockchains that are most adept at interchain protocols and tools will have the easiest time becoming part of this larger universal blockchain, if you will. And that's all I got to say. I am Synchronetic on Twitter. Feel free to follow me, send messages. I'm very friendly. Nice to meet you.
OK, thanks Michael， 感谢 Michael 的精彩分享。那 Michael 为我们带来了像 ICS721 给我们 NFT 还有 multi-chain indexer 这种非常有意思的跨链 NFT 的一些技术的分享。那么 Stargaze 其实也是为 NFT Cosmos NFT 板块其实贡献了很多的力量。Thanks Michael。OK， 接下来我们会邀请到的是 Kepler Osmosis 联合创始人 Josh Lee， 我们也会出席他的 Dogemus， 然后将为我们带来跨链钱包相关的分享，大家掌声欢迎。
Cool. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Lee. I've been getting a lot of questions on whether I'm Jae Kwon. I am not Jae Kwon. I'm someone that happens to look very similar. But yeah, today I'm going to talk about sort of humanizing your interchain experience. I think in a lot of these conferences, you end up talking a lot about the technology that kind of powers these blockchains, how you build it, why it was built a certain way. I think for my talk, I figured I kind of wanted to approach it at a little bit of a different angle, talking more on the user side of things, and why in the sense of personhood more so than the technology itself. About myself, I'm the CEO and co-founder at Kepler Wallet, and I'm also one of the co-founders at Osmosis. I've been a cosmonaut since late 2017, and yeah, I've just really found this ecosystem fascinating, and my entire kind of crypto journey really revolves around Cosmos. So yeah, let's kick things off. So my stance about Cosmos is that Cosmos is a mushroom. And I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I'll get into it. A lot of people don't realize how cool mushrooms are because, when you walk around in the forest, you see all these trees and you see kind of, a couple cool mushrooms here and there growing, and, we pick them, we cook them, we eat them. Sometimes they poison you, sometimes they're delicious. But what people don't realize is, kind of the mushrooms that you see are sort of the fruits of these kind of multi-layered fungal networks that lives underneath the soil. So, as you see in this picture, it's like you kind of see the trees above, that make up these plants and things like that. But a lot of people don't realize there are fungal networks underneath these trees that kind of connect the roots. And while I was just kind of, diving into these mushroom things, and I promise it will make sense eventually, these mushrooms are able to kind of transport things between themselves. And these are this can be like materials from like carbons, nitrogen. So if there's a mushroom over there that's not getting enough sunlight, it's not doing so well, through these networks, actual nutrients would get passed down, and they are able to sort of communicate each other, right? And I found that entire idea just so fascinating and very similar to kind of what Cosmos is you have these kind of multi-layered applications in IBC that sort of transports, application data, packets, and things like that. But beyond that, I think it's, there's this kind of cooperation network between these blockchains, and how kind of, there's this resemblance of, something very organic as this like fungal network, and something that feels so abstract and tangent and inorganic as a blockchain network could feel so similar. And when you look at kind of, I took this from MintScan, they have a Clue Explorer, you can go check it out, and sort of makes sense, right? Like, you go back to that mushroom picture, and you look at this, and you're like, that sort of makes sense. And that's, I think, what Cosmos is. It's a bunch of fungal networks that sort of communicate, talk to each other, and depending on their needs, they're able to kind of communicate in dangers, communicate things they need, and they would actually transport these things as well. So my core thesis is that blockchains are living organisms. And I think pretty often we talk about, you guys have seen this a billion times at this point, right? Like you see the consensus layer, platform layer, application layer, and you try to kind of put these things into categories, but I think you sort of have to flip this upside down, right? Like this gives the notion that a lot of these things at the top are built on the things below, but I don't know if that's like the most accurate representation of how blockchain networks create value and meaning. And I would argue that, at the very bottom of this layer, you sort of have the user. So you sort of kind of build this and flip it at the bottom, right? Like you kind of start at the user, and you have these applications that are closest to the users, which tend to be web apps and mobile apps, and the applications on the blockchain itself, or the blockchain itself being an application here in Cosmos, and then the platform that you built that on, and then finally the consensus. And I think this is the mental model that I typically operated in building, products for the users in Cosmos. And fundamentally, it is the users that create value, right? Like, if you have one of the most blockchains in the world, but you don't have any users, I feel like what's the point in kind of having that blockchain operate, right? It's just a very circular logic of we have a blockchain that kind of keeps itself alive, but there's no meaning generated by that. But I would argue that in the interchain, it's even more critical to be kind of user-centric, because now you no longer have one blockchain network that you kind of create standardization around on. In Cosmos, we're building sovereign chains. We're kind of building sovereign applications. And what this means is, you can kind of take this blockchain application framework and modify a bunch of things here and there, right? Like, it's like, all right, I like this. I don't like that. I would like to change this. So you have a very generalized framework, but things in the details can look so much different than in kind of these very monolithic smart contract platforms. And when you kind of go back to this diagram of this, you don't really see the user here, right? But at the same time, when a user sees this network, they're not going to be, the user is the one viewing this network. They're not in this network, right? They're going to be the one that's sort of choosing which networks I participate in. And I would argue that kind of that user is that sort of that very human consensus mechanism on which applications have value. And that's why I think it's so critical that we create interfaces and user patterns focused around kind of, the users themselves rather than the technology. On a blockchain, this is what my account looks like. And a lot of the developers probably have ideas on what this means, but this won't make sense for 99% of the people, right? It doesn't make sense to me, but this is what we're starting with, right? This is the account, this is the user, and I think our job is to kind of create more meaning layer by layer on top of this, a very basic building block of arbitrary characters and numbers. And we've gotten used to using explorers, which show a little bit better idea of what this user is, to adding what the user does. Now, still somewhat unintelligible, making progress here, right? But at the same time, it's great that we're able to kind of actually see things that you're doing, what that action is. But I think we can go a step further than that. And I think that's what me and my team are working on in this interchain world. Because one example, right? What is this string of characters to anyone else that's kind of looking at this, right? It's like, all right, it starts with an E, has a bunch of numbers. It's doesn't really mean a lot. But that was a transaction hash of the first atom transfer that I made way back in 2020, I believe, and it has a lot of meaning to it, right? If you look at this, it's like, hey, it's a bunch of random numbers and random characters. Doesn't mean a lot, but with the right context, it has a lot more meaning to myself and maybe to you guys, to someone who's using IBC and realizing that it's like, oh, this started somewhere, and that bunch of random characters mean something. And I think when building a wallet, critically, it's just understanding that you're trying to create these random strings of numbers and characters, and knowing that each of these have a story and meaning to that user, to someone else, to the creators of the network, whatever. It could be, someone's first LP on Osmosis, right? For me, I love when I hear that Osmosis was their first DeFi experience, because I know that I helped create something that really humanizes these, complex structures of validators, consensus, data, and fancy things, all boil down to, hey, this transaction was my first LP experience ever in crypto. Or it could just be, it could be the first IBC transaction ever. On a chain, it'll just be a bunch of random strings and characters. But hey, that's not what it means for the user, right? And yeah, and for Harriet as well, she sent the first IBC transaction on Cosmos testnet. And I think I love the fact that we get to be working on wallets that can take these random data and provide more meaning to it. And in the interchain, I think it's, the role of abstracting that, I think, is so difficult sometimes. But I love the fact that we're working on it, because it's what brings me joy. It's what brings our team joy. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, even though you feel like you're just looking at random data, the wallet's sort of unintelligible, you yourself aren't a random string of characters at all. So I don't think your blockchain experience should be a random string of characters. Because I think ultimately what we aim to view what a wallet is at the end state is more of an on-chain storybook, right? I think right now we have this notion of, it started as, it's like, oh, a wallet is just a set of private keys that's matched to a public key, and you keep your private key safe because this is where your money's at. And now we call it a wallet because that's where your money gets stored in. But as we build more applications, we're starting to realize it's like, wait, no, like a wallet is more of an account. An account is more than just a place that stores your money, right? And a transaction that happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, could have a completely different meaning today. And it's a series of these actions that you've done on the account. And that's why I love to call a wallet an on-chain storybook. And that's what we aim to build. We've started with kind of the ICNS, which is just a name service, puts a name to that arbitrary strings and numbers. The other kind of part is kind of build a dashboard. And what this place's role is, it's just more of a high-level overview of all the other components of your account. And this is kind of a working development. We're verifying our thesis as we build. So sometimes we're not entirely sure what we're building. We just experiment a few things, and then if it works out, we're like, great, let's just do more, let's just do more. If something doesn't work out, and we just kind of go, what can we learn from this? And I'll actually dig into the role of the dashboard a little bit on one of the experiments that we did recently. And actually, that happened to be the next slide, but in Cosmos, I think the role of validators are so crucial. I always tell people, it's like, hey, ask any Ethereum user. It's like, can you name 5 validators that you know? And I would argue that like 95+% of Ethereum users won't be able to name 5 validators on the Ethereum network. And it's the same case with Solana. It's the same case with every other proof of stake network. I can probably guarantee that most users don't know who the validators are. But I think Cosmos is a little bit different because the role of liquid staking comes after the presence of a lot of these prominent validators who have their own ideas and who have a lot of diverse ideas, like different ideas, and maybe sometimes they fight with each other. But it's really interesting because there's this power dynamic of a validator and the user and the core team, and they may all sort of have these like checks and balances on ideas and what they want to build and how they want to go about it. And in the interchain, these validators become sort of these entities. I just pulled a random screenshot of an Explorer where one validator validates a set of different Cosmos SDK chains and more. So we decided, all right, that's a lot of chains, and a lot of chains have a lot of governance proposals. So this is what the old governance voting process looked like for validators. Let's fix that by just, hey, we have that dashboard built before, so can we just build an interface specifically for validators to make their job easier? Don't have to go to the CLI and do that entire process. And actually, I need to go back here. Whoa. 1 second. Back. Is this working? Yeah. And while you're voting, we basically sneaked this little bit right down here called the proposal review, where we say, hey, while you're voting, we made your life easier, so you don't have to download the CLI, put a bunch of command. but do us a favor and tell me what you think about this proposal and why you're voting this way. And that's all we did. And it's just been fascinating to see these validators like actually leave these reviews. You know, I can't remember what specific proposal this was, but you know, we get a bunch of these different validators with different opinions, and maybe someone's like, "Oh, this is a hell yes! I love this proposal. We should vote yes 100 times." And you get more, you know, more subdued yeses. It's like, "Hey, we didn't really know what we wanted to do, but we feel like yes is the right vote. Not sure." And then you get very strong no opinions. And by creating this tool, this was really cool because then, as a wallet, you're able to create these relationships between people who stake and the people that vote. And eventually down the road, we expect that these users will be able to basically find validators that match their values closely within that interface where that staking actually happens. And we want to, you know, this is just one example of creating context in the interchain. And more of an ongoing experiment right now. And, you know, and let's say, hey, I voted a certain way, but my delegators don't like that. Well, good thing we have, you know, most networks have over 100 validators, so there may be someone else who kind of fits fits your opinions better, fits your ideas of the interchain and governance better. And but I think the issue traditionally has been there's been no platform for this to happen at a very organic and a seamless level. And this experiment just kind of showed that, yeah, if we build it at the right place, there is definitely going to be demand. Other than that, we're building the mobile wallet. I think I'm going to be completely honest, currently our most neglected part of the product, but we're going to change that right after we get done. After we get done with this, because we are finally doing a redesign of Kepler extension, and it's currently ongoing, and I am not allowed to drop any dates yet, but I can guarantee I think this will be in less than a month for sure. And this is the first redesign of the extension we've done since launch. It's been 3 years. I designed that. I'm not a designer, and I designed the current design, extension. Long overdue. We're building a wallet experience that's more optimized for multiple networks. So I know currently in the Kepler ecosystem, and most wallets, selecting the chain you want to interact on is a very core part of your experience, right? And traditionally for us, that existed at the very top section where it's like, hey, select the network, and then here's your money. I think what we've realized building a wallet is you sort of have to flip that upside down where, hey, it's like, someone might just have 2 of these very fringe chains and they interact solely on that. And that's okay, right? We shouldn't force them into this chain first users, user assets under chains. We're sort of flipping that upside down where depending on the assets that you hold and the networks you're active in, that's the chains that would be shown. So we've done a lot of kind of thought process on the UX. Love to kind of see the response on this. Should be coming up very soon. Yeah, and ultimately I think it's understanding that humans are social creatures. We may be building systems that feel very non-human sometimes. I think the blockchain sometimes does that, but I think there's a lot of opportunities to blend in these very human experiences into our blockchain experience. And yeah, this is me talking about why Cosmos is a fungal network. And you're part of that fungal network if you have used Cosmos. And if you're not, you should become part of one. Thank you.
好的，感谢赵老师带来精彩分享。从赵老师刚才的分享，我们也看到他对于 C 端应用还有跨链钱包方面他自己的思考以及现在的实践。Thanks, Josh。好，下面我们有请到的嘉宾是 Likerland CEO 菲比 Point 上台分享如何促进应用专有链的采用，将 Web2 用户引入到 Web3 的相关主题演讲。大家掌声欢迎。
Hi everyone. Bear with me with 20 more minutes before you go to lunch. 大家好, I'm Phoebe, the co-founder and CEO of Likerland. So today I'm going to talk about something not infrastructure, not trading. I guarantee this presentation will be very easy to understand for any laymen that are here today. So a little bit about myself. I'm born and raised in Hong Kong. I study in the state, in Seattle. I also have a brief stay in Google Maps before I returned to Hong Kong. So I was fascinated with technology, and being a digital native-born kid, I want to be the next generation of the internet, which I believe will be Web3. So we are talking about Cosmos today. And for me, I do see the future of Web3. It will not just be one, but a hub of internet of blockchain, where we'll be able to build our own planet, but at the same time, we are all interconnected at the same time. So that's why we have all this application chain that was built for different vertical of users. And at the same time, we can leverage the hub itself in the infrastructure, especially we have great speakers talking about NFT infrastructure. We have George just talk about Kepler wallet to provide user experience to get into Cosmos. So yeah, I will do a little bit of flashback of how we get started. So we actually started on Ethereum in 2017. And then we start to look into Tendermint, and then we joined the first Cosmos hackathon in Seoul in 2019, when everyone was still quite young here. I think George is somewhere in the pictures, and here's our team. And that's also the time where we met all the awesome builders, including our Genesis validator, Forbo, that is still with us today. So just like any startup, one question that me and my team often ask about ourselves is, what product that we want to build? Why are we doing this? And who we wanted to serve? We are living in a world that majority of the users are still in Web 2. So the question for us is how we can actually bridge them over to Web 3. So the questions that lie behind is, where are the next billions of users? And for us, the answer is actually quite clear, which is creator economy. Okay, I think. Yes, so there is no doubt that the digital content world is currently growing. No matter it is ebook readers, no matter it's bloggers. I assume some of you subscribe to Patreon or Medium or Substack these days. It became a social norm for us to consume content on the internet. However, both writers and their fans are quite limited by the broken infrastructure and business model of this ecosystem. So can we do something to improve this Web 2 world, especially in the content world, to bridge them to Web 3? So we are here to provide a full stack of solutions from infrastructure layer to application layer, where I will talk about today, to provide a publishing freedom for people who want to publish and monetize easily in this hierarchy. And the first thing that we saw, especially like everyone talking about metaverse these days, but at the end of the day, you don't really have metaverse without metadata. So the first thing that we built on the Litecoin chain is the ISBN, but a blockchain version. So if some of you are old enough, you might recognize this. That's how you actually find a book in the library back in the days. And that's exactly the registry that you will need in the internet these days. So ISBN initially is lying on the Litecoin chain. That's the current usage for us, which serves as a proof of authorship, where you will document the important messages, such as who are the authors, who are the holders, what is the copyright, and especially what is the timestamp for this piece of content. So once we have this layer, all the content that you publish on the internet will always guarantee you have a content integrity where you can prove you are the creator of this content. The core infrastructure of this Litecoin chain is maintained by various awesome validators that we have that have been with us from the beginning to now. And we have more validators on board in Cosmos. I know some of you guys are here today. They have been supporting us from the beginning, where they operate in a 24/7 manner to maintain the governance and also the security of the chain. and most importantly, to secure the whole ecosystem of decentralized publishing. And for ISCN, the chain itself, we worked with a lot of different use cases. And one of the recent use cases that we launched with a US partner called Project Starling, they actually work with major media in the US, including New York Times, including Rolling Stones, where they actually registered their news on our chain to try to build a use case to showcase to all the Web2 people, hey, you can actually use blockchain in this way. So this is one of the use cases that is currently lying on the Litecoin chain itself. However, when it comes to layman consumption, we now have this amazing infrastructure. But how we can actually get these things, this great content to users' hand? So I have something on my hand right now, which is a book that is from my dad 30 years ago. And he actually signed an autograph with his name, and then he passes to me. And the most innovative thing that we have in 20 years, in the recent 20 years, which is a Kindle, an e-book, which is even worse because my dad can't even sign on it. And what I'm paying for is actually an access to this content, and I can't even pass it to my kids. So you can see the relationship between readers and writers, or even readers themselves, is very lack of connections, and they don't even have ownership towards something that I bought here. It could disappear someday. I can't even pass it to my generations. So is there a way where we can combine books and e-books experience in Web3? So the answer for us is, in Litecoin, we want to connect human connection with technology. And that's how we can combine the Web 1 and Web 2 experience that I just showed on my hand right now with the book and ebook that we have. So for Litecoin, we are introducing the first Web3 bookstore that you will see. Writers can now actually list their blogs, newsletter, ebooks as an NFTs on Litecoin. Because at the end of the day, NFT is just a format. What really brings value to people is the content itself. It provides a more dynamic way for people to interact with their users, with their writers, and ultimately with their fan base. So this is basically a quick UI that you will see on Litecoin.land, which is something me and my team has been building for several months now. You can see a very dynamic interactions that you can have with your fans. And everything is documented on the blockchain. We work with authors in the region to publish their ebook with NFT. So imagine if you walk into a bookstore today, if you've got a book, the writer actually have no idea who actually bought their books. And as a reader, I don't even know who are the same people who share the same interests that bought the same book that we can share opinions on or share the reading experience. So now, with the infrastructure that we have, with the marketplace and the bookstore that we provide, people are finally able to publish their book freely without a publishers, with the ISCN infrastructure. They can even design the royalty structure. They can also provide commission, potentially, in an automated way with the infrastructure support. So this is the second page, basically, with the book that I just showed you just now. As an owner of this NFT book, I also got to download the EPUB directly on the marketplace to receive autograph from the authors, which is on-chain. I can even transfer to some people that I like, and I can even drop them on-chain messages that is live on the marketplace and transparently show to everybody who came into these bookstores. Litecoin is basically the first marketplace that you can get an ebook for your Kindle or for your Kobo and deliver in an instant way once you click the bought button. Creators also have a dashboard. Okay. Creators also have a dashboard to basically shows. Yes. So creators basically also have a dashboard to show and send messages to their fans. They can also identify their reader and who are the collectors. And not only just book authors. Right now, there are also over 1,500 media that are actually listing their content on this marketplace to interact with their fans. A lot of them are actually different vertical of content creators. They are light novel, they are newsletter, some of them are writing on Substack, some of them are writing on Patreon. They can now finally have a new way, and also a new interactive way for their fans, and also interact directly with their readers. So this is a quick demo of how it actually looks like if you are bloggers today. So once you have a blog, you can very seamlessly mint as a writing NFT through the portal that we have, and you can automatically show it on your dashboard of your content creation. And you can lead your reader there to collect within your site. So basically, you don't really have to come to Likerland as a marketplace, but you can have all your readers to stay where you are. And as a content creator, at the end of the day, we want to bring traffic to your sites. We don't want you to adopt a new writing platform system. But instead, we empower you to transform your Web2 sites with Web3 elements. So a little bit of roadmap that I didn't mention in the past few days of sharing. In 2023, we have an exciting roadmap that we will be working a lot to expand with the regional publishers in Japan, in Hong Kong, and Taiwan. We are also looking to integrate with decentralized identity and social network, so to provide an enriched experience with fans, writers, to build their customer base. We will also have a fan royalty system where you might be able to incentivize for curation, for discovery. There will also be an achievement system. There will also be a customized portfolio that is coming for you. And ultimately, we will have writing NFT emerge into collections. So who are manga lovers here? If you collect multiple manga, for example, you will be able to put them into collections, editions, or book series. As a huge fan of Harry Potter, I could collect the full books series, and I can showcase it on my own portfolio. And this coming year, we'll also be partnering with at least 10 book authors, that is Tier 1 authors in Hong Kong and Taiwan, to show the industry, hey, this is actually a new way for you to publish your things with the latest technology of NFTs. So to conclude, what are the existing community look like, and how we can bring all these applications to the existing community to utilize? Because at the end of the day, I think the end users will be the most important part of this ecosystem, and how we can continue grow with the community. So Lycon has been started for several years. Currently, there are over 9,000 sites that have our button on it. So if you are a user in Hong Kong and Taiwan, you might see our logo very often in a lot of media sites. There are over 100K of Liker wallet in the Cosmos ecosystem. A lot of them are using Kepler or Cosmos Station that are holding our token in Cosmos. There are also 32K creators that are already in the network that know about us, and they are waiting to onboard using this marketplace or the publishing infrastructure that we have. Before going to my team, I would also like to thank the active validators that we have to help secure this vertical of applications that they are in. Here's a little bit of introduction about them as well. We have a very interesting set of validators that you won't see in other Cosmos ecosystem. Because they come from a background of media and also from the Web3 expertise. We have Forbo as one of the biggest validator in Cosmos that provide technical expertise. We also have a lot of fact check center, media partners, to first learn about Cosmos and become our validator to provide their expertise in media and also in other landscape of content authenticity. So this is a very interesting set of validators that we have to provide governance for the ecosystem to grow. We also have awesome community partners that come from, several of them are very top tier Taiwan crypto media that write about this, and also to promote this new idea of media and publishing infrastructure to their own community. And I'm proud to say all these are built by our awesome team. with the team of 8. And we basically do everything in-house in the past few years. The technical ability of the team is also proven by a lot of rewards and early backers. We were also participate in 2 years of Cosmos Atom, that we learned a lot of our early idea and make it happen throughout these several years. So last but not least, I have an exciting news for you. So if you would like to be part of this exciting decentralized publishing future, we are raising a seed round right now. We have already raised an angel round last year. A lot of them are actually YC alumni in Silicon Valley. There are serial entrepreneurships in various existing startups. And if you would like to join us, we're happy to chat to continue grow what we have in LikeLand. And lastly, if you'd like to connect, here's my Telegram, and here's my email, and I'll be around. So hopefully we can connect and chat. So thank you for your time today, and enjoy your lunch.
好，谢谢菲比的精彩演讲，也为我们介绍了在 NFT 在书籍包括内容方面的一些实践和探索。好的，那下面我们进入下一个比较重磅的环节啊 ，CHA 的启动仪式。那 CHA 的全称是 Cosmos Hong Kong Accelerator， 是由 IBCL 边界智能章鱼网络联合发起的 Cosmos 加速器，也是 Cosmos 生态中一个新的DAO联盟组织，旨在提供日常的Meetup 生态峰会。 Cosmos SDK 培训、黑客松、联合媒体、社区开发者的力量，面向整个华语地区提供 Cosmos 技术及生态发展的资讯服务、技术孵化以及相关的创业项目的支持。那下面我们就有请到启动仪式的主持人瑞、IBCL 联合创始人 Alex 王、边界智能创始人兼 CEO Harry 曹、章鱼网络创始人 Louis 刘上台，共同启动 CHA。
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today marks a historic moment for the Cosmos ecosystem and the broader Web3 space as we gather to launch CHA, Cosmos Hong Kong Accelerator, for contributing to Cosmos, the Internet of Blockchains, and make it easy for developers to build blockchains and break the barriers between blockchains by allowing them to transact with each other. As a trailblazer in the multi-chain and cross-chain era, the Cosmos ecosystem is expanding robustly on the right track of interoperability and sovereignty. The Cosmos ecosystem has garnered ever-increasing support from users and developers from across the Web3 space and beyond. Cosmos is developing very fast, and it also relies on its community, the dynamic community, to propel the ecosystem forward. So, we're founding CHA, Cosmos Hong Kong Accelerator today, committed to boosting the sustainable development and prosperity of the Cosmos ecosystem. To achieve our goals, CHA will organize hackathons, offer diverse Cosmos development courses, collaborate with prestigious universities and institutes worldwide, and incubate innovative, outstanding projects, amongst other initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here to inaugurate CHA, Cosmos Hong Kong Accelerator today, we celebrate a groundbreaking new chapter in the Cosmos ecosystem and unite with our friends and allies across the Web3 world. Let's embark on this extraordinary journey together. Thank you very much. Now, please join me in welcoming our representatives of our 3 initiators to be on the stage and deliver their speeches each for about 1 or 2 minutes. Let's welcome Ms. Carrie Cao Zong from 边界 AI, and Mr. Louis Liu from Octopus Network. And also please welcome me from IBCL, one of the 3 initiators as well, to deliver my speech later. Please 曹总。我们现在先请曹总先发言。曹总，先请您介绍一下变装。Now please welcome Ms. Harriet Tao to introduce himself and about 边界 AI for 1 or 2 minutes. Welcome.
It's really so heartwarming, like to see like this happen. Actually, this happened. It took the team for in the past like 1 month, and so we are trying to establish this accelerator to help to promote the open vision of the cosmos. And I will just say a few things about 边界, and I already explained. 边界 is an early open source contributor for Cosmos, and we are the first users of the Cosmos SDK. As I mentioned, also contributed to the Cosmos ICS 20, ICS 271, and we are so excited as a Cosmos open source builder, working together with our community builders, IBCL, and also like our close friends, and also the community collaborators, Octopus Network.
Thank you, Harriet. And now please welcome Mr. Liu Yi to deliver his speech. Thanks.
Hello,
Welcome.
Louis from Octopus Network. So Octopus, we are marketing network built around Near Protocol. At the same time, we are long-time enthusiast and contributor to Cosmos ecosystem. And we are the maintainer of ICS 10 and the builder behind Substrate IBC. Like Harriet mentioned, the initiator behind CHA are longtime partners and friends. We bring Cosmos SDK training to Chinese-speaking developers, and we even translate the whole set of IBC document into Chinese. And now we start the great journey of CHA. I'm very proud to be part of all this. Thank you.
刚才其实我忘了用中文介绍一下，刘毅老师就是那个 IBC 的这个中文的这个翻译，就是刘毅老师的团队来做的。
Thank you, Mr. Liu Yi. And I'm a co-founder of IBCL. We are technology-driven. We are dedicated and committed to the interchain ecosystem of Cosmos, and we are steadfastly committed and dedicated to the advancing for the popularity of the inner blockchain communication protocol, and we are providing the online and on-site meetup and activities and events and services of advisory, and then investments and other support to our ecosystem and those other community projects together. And we are so proud to be here today to join Ms. Tao, Harriet Tao, and Mr. Liu Yi together to be the 3 initiators for CHA. Okay, thanks. And okay, please stand here. Okay, all right.
Also invite our
also
Genesis
invite, yeah.
members together,
Yes.
right?
Now the next session is we're gonna, please join me in welcoming our 4 Genesis members. Vito from ND Labs, and Mr. Dashan from Water Drip, Mr. Phoebe Poon from Leica Land, and Miss Poon from Leica Land, yeah, and also Yung Kwan Jin Sang from Forbo to deliver their speeches. These are our 4 Genesis members. Welcome. Oh, maybe a lady first. Maybe let's welcome Miss Phoebe Poon to deliver a speech. All right, or you first.
Oh, lady first. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just realized I'm the only. Oh wait, we have Harriet here. So, yeah. So, very excited to be part of this Genesis member of Cosmos Hong Kong. It's been quite exciting for us to build in Cosmos for a couple of years, and we finally have a presence basically in Hong Kong and Asia to help be a pioneer in Cosmos. I think this is quite important for every builders in Cosmos because we apparently have a lot of support from Iris and Forbol to grow our own vertical chain, and we definitely want to help others that are looking to develop on Cosmos. And also because Cosmos is known as very low-key, so we're trying to promote more to Asia, and hopefully not people, when people thought about blockchain, they don't just have to talk about Polygon, Solana, but now Cosmos as an option to build their own little planet for their applications. So thank you.
So now please welcome Vito from ND Labs to introduce himself. Yeah.
Okay, hello, I'm co-founder of ND Labs. My name is Vito, and I give speech in Chinese. Okay, ND Labs 是那个我们专注于2个板块，一个是那个基础设施建设，另外一块呢，我们在做投资孵化，然后并且我们旗下有个媒体叫 Meta-Era 也是这次很多编会的一个主办方。然后呢，我们未来会致力于给这个 Cosmos 生态在香港也好，在全球也好，会做这个教育的工作和这个推广的工作，包括我们也做了大量工作，引入很多优秀项目到 Cosmos 上面来，包括像前天我们跟数码港合作，然后让数码港给我们 Cosmos 的香港 Meetup 免费提供了场地来举行了 Meetup。另外的话，我们也 introduce 了一些非常优质项目，包括 AIG Chain 就第一个基于 Web3 的这个GPT 的一个项目，然后呢做了大量工作，让他们最终采取了 Cosmos 的架构。然后呢，未来我们也会引入更多的这种优质的有影响力的项目去采用 Cosmos， 并且会向开发者社区然后去宣传 Cosmos 的相关的技术架构，让更多人了解 Cosmos 并采用 Cosmos。然后我们也会用我们社区的资源，要让更多的香港和华语区的这些小伙伴们都了解 Cosmos。就像刚才妞女士说的，让更多人采用 Cosmos 这种架构去 build 他们的这个底层的这个基础设施。好，这是 ND Labs 的一个未来可能会在 Cosmos 所做的一些事情。谢谢大家。
Thank you, Phoebe and Vito. Now let's welcome Mr. Dashan from Water Drip. Okay.
Hello, this is Yushan from Water Drip Capital. So Water Drip Capital is a venture capital founded in 2017. And Cosmos by then was our very first portfolio. So we have been supporting Cosmos in the past 5 years. And we will continue our support on Cosmos ecosystem. And we encourage all the developers to select Cosmos as the infrastructure to achieve your project. And thank you, everyone. So our booth is at B07. So if you want to talk more with me, please go there to have a talk. Thanks.
Thank you, Dashan. And now please welcome Mr. Yuan Kun from Forbol.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Quan Yang from Forbol. It's a startup we founded in 2017 in Hong Kong. We are a validator in different proof-of-stake network, and we started everything in Cosmos. We actually started being a validator since, well, we learned everything about blockchain in Cosmos in the late 2017. And so we have been getting a lot of benefits from Cosmos. And throughout the years, we have been developing a lot of different open source software, including Big Dipper, that's mostly social network infrastructure. And we also have some contributions on the Cosmos SDK. So I believe the experience on all these validating or open source development, and also our experience on community building and or education or market education, we are also thinking about. We're also in the process of the Desmos Academy and Desmos University program. I believe all these experience would be very helpful to the Cosmos community in Hong Kong. And I would like to bring all these experience to the newcomers to Cosmos, and I'm very happy to cooperate with all these great people. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Fobo. Thank you, Mr. Yuan. Now let's come to the session of showing and displaying our banner of CHA. Okay. Okay, it's okay. And take the photos.
Yeah.
Now let's welcome all the members of CHA to be on the stage and take photos together. And thank you very much for everyone during the launching process. Thanks so much for your endeavor and your everything that you've done for making this happen. And all right. It's okay. So thank you very much for coming here to attend this launch ceremony today as well, everybody. And we're so much profoundly grateful and thankful to you. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's build Cosmos and the Web3 space together. Thank you very much.
好，恭喜 Cosmos 香港加速器 CHA 正式启动。那相信未来 CHA 也会发挥 Cosmos 生态的整个强大的平台的优势，为整个华语地区以及亚太为这个跨链行业做出更大的贡献。那么下面一个环节就到了我们本次活动最后一个环节了——圆桌论坛。那此次圆桌论坛的主题为跨链工具及服务，提升用户体验，将由章鱼网络创始人 Louis 刘主持。他将与 Fobo 产品总监 Leonardo、Optic Network 创始人 Brian 辛、Stakefish 商业发展与战略投资负责人 March Lam 等嘉宾共同开展头脑风暴。那下面让我们就把时间交给刘毅老师，大家掌声欢迎。
Okay. Yeah, I'm so glad there's so many people still around, and there must be true love in your heart for Cosmos Interchain. And yeah, I would guarantee that the Cosmos God will bless you from now on. And let's welcome our guest. And let's start with introduction on yourself and the project you are affiliated with. Yeah,
okay, yeah. Thanks for being here still now, right? It's a true love. I'm Brian from Optic Network. So I call myself as an internet veteran because I started my career in '97 in Silicon Valley. So we did several startups and then go through Web 1, Web 2. Now pretty enjoying the adventure in Web 3. So basically, we're working on a Optic network. It's an NFT business class NFT infrastructure, try to power all kind of NFT-based application in Web3. And I'm pretty happy to be here in Hong Kong this time because I remember my old days in 2008. I was in Cyberport, Microsoft Office. I was CTO of MSN at that time. So now Web3 starts from Hong Kong again, right? So I'm pretty happy and love to share more today.
Hi everyone, I'm Leonardo. I'm the Director of Product at Forble. I've started my journey in Web3 right after my graduation in computer science. It was 2018, I guess. And I jumped right after in the Cosmos ecosystem. I was working for a company in Italy, and at that time we were looking for a solution to develop some business use cases in the blockchain. And suddenly we found out of Cosmos, and we realized that it was really simple, even at that time, to build something upon the chain. And eventually, we joined some hackathons, and I have the pleasure to meet the two Forble co-founders. And right after some speeches with them, I decided to join Forble because I really married the cause that they were pursuing. So at Forble, we developed several products from infrastructure to block explorers to decentralized social networks and more. And we have been going through several challenges, trying to understand how to create the best UX experience for layman users that are not used to interact with blockchains. And so this is also my first time in Hong Kong and my first time actually meeting my colleagues after 3 years working with them. And I'm really excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Cool, thanks, Leonardo. I'm March. I'm based in Hong Kong. I'm leading the BD and also investment team in Stickfish. So I actually started off my career in corporate banking back in 2017. Learned about crypto in the same year and decided to join this fascinating space in 2018, more on consultancy and also advisory role across a wide range of product, including finance, like solutions or like payment gateways, etc. Yeah. So for Stickfish is actually a leading operator founded by Mr. Chun Wang. In 2018, he's also the co-founder of F2 Pool, which is one of the biggest Bitcoin mining pool in the space. So back in the days, they actually think that like POS is the next trend, and also it's where the blockchain come to adoption. So that's we started that early. So as the role of a node operator, we actually need to run in the infrastructure to secure the network, also participate actively in governance, and also create a community, educate about non-custodial staking like Forble do. We also support the community, especially Cosmos, by doing the Grantfish initiative, which is a grant for developers and new projects, and also actively invest in some new and innovative blockchains.
Oh, thank you. So I find out that all the work behind your project involved with user experience via and user face efforts, and let's talk about user value. How to bring 1 billion users into Web3? What type of user value you are trying to create?
Okay, yeah, let me get first. Well, I think this is a pretty important topic, right? Everybody talking about that, and we are waiting for more users coming to Web3 and come to crypto world. But there's a huge gap where we're having right now because a lot of things are happening in parallel, right? So from the base infrastructure and or middle layer, and also business model change. Because in my view, it's not just bring current user into Web3 application is a success, but it should be sustainable, right? So we need to retain this kind of a user in this Web3. So then what's the change? So basically in our vision is we need to do something, fill the gap, right, between the user and the good technology in Web3. For example, if you talk about an NFT, most people say, oh, yeah, in the past 2 years, it's like JPEG, right? So we need to answer a question, say, what after that? So once you hold it, what happened to the next? If you don't, you cannot provide a good solution to that, user won't stay, right? In my view, Web3 application is more like a game change, right? But it's more importantly for the builder and the business owner, it's a mind change. It's not just a decentralization of technology, but also probably an operation model and even business model will be totally changed. If you don't adapt to this kind of whole change of mindset, it might not be successful. For example, the consumer, currently you pay for something to get some service. But in Web3, we want to convert consumer into your member, right? Then convert members into your community, and they will become the contributor to the application, to your business. There's a total different business model behind it. So, yeah, so that's something I think instead of a very good user experience on the application, but we also need to provide a total different business and economy model to really encourage users to participate into this game. It's not just participate, be a consumer, become a builder, and also need to get benefit from that. That will be a whole different change. Well, basically, the NFT is a technical vehicle, right? Can carry any type of digital asset. So we need to build a lot of different innovative protocols and models to really power the business application builders to bring the real user into the game. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Thanks, Brian. I think that when you talk about like bridging more users from Web 2 to Web 3, the first thing we need to focus on is like the developer experience around the tools that we provide them to create like the greatest experience possible for our end users. So in order to bridge them, we need to create a seamless experience from Web 2 to Web 3. And this is what at Forble we are trying to achieve in the last 3 to 6 months. So we have worked on ways to create a simple UX that resembles Web 2, but it's actually all built on Web 3. So if you think about DeFi application, it's fine to like wait and sign a transaction and have like several steps to go there. But if you think about social networks and social application and also NFTs application, users would like to have the seamless experience possible. Because if you interact with a UI and you need to wait like for 6 to 7 seconds to like, for instance, post a comment or put a like or follow a user, that will not be the best experience in my opinion. So we have built some tools that avoid those waiting times and put them in the backgrounds to bridge them over the users and give them the best experience they can have. So I think that first we will need to work on this kind of developer experience tool, and then they will be able to focus more on the user experience overall.
Cool. So from my point of view, there are a few points when you look into the adoption of Web3. So first of all, a product market fit is very important. We have to create something that has actual demand from the market. Like a very strong example is GMX. It's a very decentralized DeFi platform built on Arbitrum, right? It has like 700 or something million of TVL, but it is actually created by one developer. Yeah, so it means that like a very effective or good product is actually value much more than spending hundreds of thousands into marketing to boost your project. And second thing is that a seamless experience, as Leonardo said, you don't want to waste a long time in order to process transactions. You want it has to be as seamless as the bank. You can do everything in the same platform. That's a good experience for the user. Apart from that, I think like community creation is very important as well, because in Web3, like things are happening very fast and innovations are happening every day. So people have a lot of options in the market. So apart from a very good product, this is also talking about like how the project teams can interact effectively with the community in a two-way manner, and how to create a very positive and constructive environment for people to interact. Because at the end of the day, people may stay just because of the bonding of the people, not because of the product. So my last point is that like blockchain adoption can tap into many financial opportunities, because in the space there are many innovative designs. For example, like DeFi, NFT, staking. The key idea is that when you hold your asset, there's many ways for you to generate additional yields. So this is an additional stream of revenue or investment opportunity for many like traditional players that haven't touched crypto in the past few years. Yeah, so that's my few points.
Oh, thank you. So we talk about user onboarding and how to attract user from let's say, mainstream internet to our Web3 world. And so I do think actually the formula is quite simple. It's about intention and friction. Once the driving force behind a single user bypass the difficulties he faces, he's ready for Web3. And we have been talking about value creation, but obviously the friction to enter Web3 is still very high. Could you be more to elaborate the work of your project about enhancing the user experience of the Web3 service you are trying to provide?
Oh, of course. So I think right now there's a lot of challenge for the Web3 builders, right, to attract users and make it sustainable. But in my view, so we should more focus on the infrastructure building right now, because without a solid ground, it's difficult to run business class application and also to retain business class users. In my vision and practice, we really want to build something from bottom up, right? So and also attract users from top down. For example, Cosmos provide a really good baseline technology, and also it's incrementally delivering good technology, like Tendermint engine, right? SDK, then the IBC and the ICS, interchain account, and the interchain security. So those are very, very good base modules for us to use. But on the other side, it's not enough, because for the builders, they have to understand everything at this level. So, but then we need to really have another layer of infrastructure. This is something we call the business-grade infrastructure to power the business, probably running on top of that. For example, the module, so that's why we want to have a layered architecture for this framework, right? So we have a layer 1 and provide the trust, and the layer 2 actually is more like a bunch of modularized protocols to support the different scenarios, and even integrate DeFi, social, different elements from other decentralized projects. And then we need to have a bunch of service modules to really pack everything into a better development environment. For example, as I said earlier, like a decentralized data as a service. So that will be essential for applications to really leverage the power of your infrastructure and even the IBC networks across the border. So that's so important. But at the end, maybe user will feel, oh, that's totally different, right? So it's not, if they are facing, for example, an NFT is traveling between different networks. So then they will first feel, oh, it's very smooth. Second, they will feel, oh, it can be trusted. That's super important, because you not only provide the infrastructure support, but also provide the interchain data support. Yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is for example, in NFT, you will have a metadata standard, right, to support it. Because any type of metadata standard will support different class of the digital assets. In that case, the creators, the business owners, want the metadata can be carried over across the network and also be respected by another blockchain economy, and also maybe the applications are running on top of that. So in that case, then we can build a very friendly business environment, right, for the real business. Because at the end, it's not us to build applications. It might be like a Starbucks, right, Wyndham, hotel groups. They want to move their business into this infrastructure. That's the eventual success, I think, for this Web3 transformation. Yeah, that's my understanding. Oh, by the way, of course, we need to have very good tools and services to support it. Currently, you have a browser to NFT or FT browsers. then we need to have interchain browsers, right, to provide the data services and whatever. So yeah, together, I think we are in the stage to really connect those dots together now to maybe next year, right? So this is early days, but that's pretty exciting time. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. So talking about infrastructure, I think that if we want to work with like business, the classic business players such as like, for instance, Starbucks or can be Netflix or anyone, we need to focus on the abstraction of what can be the technical difficulties and issues that blockchain and Web3 right now have, such as time for waiting for transactions, consensus layer and everything. So the things we should work on should be like some kind of libraries such as UX that provide UX and UIs that are similar to what they are used to, and to avoid the fact that they need to think about how to integrate those things and to solve those problems. So it should be on us to solve those problems and give them the actual technologies that simplifies their job. So in that way, they can easily understand how to provide the seamless experience that we all want to achieve in Web3 that right now is not quite there. So if you think about NFTs platforms or even the social networks that are now living on Web3, they are all pretty difficult to use for the end users because they does not provide a simple way to onboard in these platforms. So when you open an application, you might want to like join really, really fast. So if you see right now, there's no way to basically join it like in a very, very simple way. And that might cause like the churn rate of the users to be like very high. So how do you solve that? You should provide like libraries that enables developers, that empowers developers to create this kind of simple and seamless experience. And I think we should, besides infrastructure, also focus on giving these business and developers the ability to create these nice and seamless UX and UIs by giving them these tools, these libraries that are more client-side focused than back-side focused, I would say.
Cool, thanks for the sharing. And from my point of view, I do think that actually blockchain is a very complex concept. And there involve lots of jargons, which like ordinary people do not really understand. So our role is how to explain very complicated concepts in very layman terms, using like daily life examples that can make blockchain adoption or crypto adoption a lot easier. Another thing is like the availability of the infrastructures and tools, right? Like when we use like banking services, like everything happens in the same platform. But in DeFi, like you have to do the swap, use a bridge, do yield farming, buying the on-chain insurance in different platforms. So it's very prone to attack, and you may have the mistake in entering the addresses, right? And you cannot recover your funds in blockchain. So that's a very, very pain point that we need to resolve. And also the custody of asset and also the security of asset. Because when we talk to like traditional guys, the first question they may ask like whether blockchain is really reliable. Will my asset be stolen on the blockchain? So these are actually some of the pain points that we need to resolve. So at Stickfish, we actually want to create a reliable and also secure staking service, which is most importantly non-custodial in manner, which means that you can hold your private key and keep the custody of your own asset, but you can still perform staking and generating yield from your asset you hold. And we also want to make the whole process more simple by providing providing better onboarding flow for staking. For example, we actually started off with Ethereum. We use the NFT staking flow, where user does not need to input the withdrawal address and also create a withdrawal address when they do staking. So that's actually more favorable to ordinary users like you and I to try staking, try to secure the network, and try to participate in the ecosystem through governance. Yeah. I think these are the things that are very important for the blockchain and crypto adoptions.
Oh, thank you. So many insightful points. And so our discussion so far is going on in the context of broader Web3. Now let's back to our topic, major topic, Cosmos Interchain. what is important innovation going on in this eco, make you excited. Please name one project or two beside your own that's worth our attention.
Okay. Yeah, because we're talking about the cross-chain, right, today, so it's a big topic. So actually, Optic also participated, GON, gave them NFTs. In the phase 1, we provide the testnet environment, and also probably in phase 2, we will also support the hackathon to build more use cases, to support user, to build more innovative use cases on top of that. But in my view, interchain NFT is a great thing. Actually, that's why we actually landed on Cosmos technology several years ago. We are looking for IBC, but not IBC only for FT, but more for FT, because NFT. Because NFT represents non-fungible token. It's a unique digital asset, which could be crypto native and can also map to any other type of physical world asset. So basically, it represents everything, right? So value of internet. So for that, we really need to have a backbone infrastructure to support it. For example, if I have an asset here, if I travel to, say, United States or Japan, I should be able to carry it over, right? So I bring it around. It's my asset. I should have all freedom and smoothly to transfer back and forth between different blockchain ecosystem. So that's something IBC NFT can do. But more than that, so just like IBC is more like a standard highway, right? So to connect different things together. Then we need to have a vehicle to running on top of that, to carry different goods and passengers, right, around. So that will be not only asset, but also messages, maybe a lot of social functions. Everything will be put together. That's something I'm really looking for. And also, we need to simplify it for the user. For example, in our one of the application we have, it's more like we really need to keep it very simple. For example, before IBC NFT, we built a cross-chain bridge for NFT between the Cosmos and Ethereum, BSC, and Polygon. So from the user interface part, it's just like a one click from A to B. Then you can see a list of transactions, just like you receive FedEx parcel, right? So when they receive the parcel and what's the steps, and then go to your front door. So that kind of user experience is really important for the end user because they don't care what kind of transactions behind it, right? So they just want to receive something in real and trustable. So that's something. So if we mention another project, so actually I really like the initiative from our Stargate friend today. They're talking about the cross-chain, interchain data indexer. Actually in Optic, we also call it like a decentralized data as a service. That's super important to make sure the interchain scenario can be really commercialized, right? It's not just prototyping. It can be commercialized because the continuation of the data tracking and the ID identity is super important. Otherwise, the digital assets cannot be really live well in the cross-chain domain. Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. So I think that when we started working in the Cosmos ecosystem, especially IBC was not a thing yet. It was just a white paper. And we, as Forbo, we were developing a blockchain to develop decentralized social networks called Desmos. And at that time, we were facing a lot of people trying to impersonate famous validators to get delegations. And there was no way to prove that if that validator was the actual real one or if it was like a fake one. So we thought that we should have a way to verify on-chain how and if that person is the actual validator. So we came out with this feature called Chainlink that allows you to off-chain sign the cryptographic proofs that tells that you are the owner of that account. So validators can link through the Desmos profile all their different chain profiles and prove that they are actually the owner. I guess one of the greatest innovation that is coming with IBC is the possibility to use interchain accounts and do these things seamlessly within the system in order to prove that you are the real owner of an account. So this is a great improvement in terms of identity protection. And I guess also the ways and the ability to like exchange not only tokens, as you said, but also NFTs and messages and social interaction across IBC should be something that is like users should not care about. Like we should like provide them with the easiest experience possible, and being able to do that through interchain accounts, I guess, is probably the greatest innovation that is coming out in IBC yet. And I guess, yeah, providing that and creating like greatest application on the top of it should be probably the next year hot topic, I guess.
From my point of view, like because right now Cosmos already have IBC enabled, right? So there are many innovations that can build on top of IBC, which resolve some of the key elements or pain points which we see today, like availability, liquidity, and also scalability of the blockchain. So first of all, availability means that like how seamless it is for us to interact with the blockchain. So it's the day-to-day gateway, for example, the use of wallet, and also blockchain explorers to look into blockchain informations. So I believe like some of the projects like Helper or Cosmos Station, they're doing a good work. Like blockchain explorer means scan is very good. They also include a like staking information hub, which we can see all the chains, all the validators, and all the performance in one glance. Apart from that, like liquidity is very important because we want to do the trades or transactions in minimal price impact. So like USDC stablecoin is coming to Cosmos, and also there are some protocols trying to untap like cross-chain or cross-DEX liquidity. Like finally, the scalability issue is very important because like as for now, as for the current adoption rate, like the blockchain network is already always congesting. Like people have to use a very unreasonable gas fee to trade, or like front run by other folks or MGV bots in the market. So actually there are some projects trying to resolve the problem like CK technology, how to offload the validation of data by using CK, or like projects such as Celestia, like they're trying to separate the data storage and also retrieval from the normal transactions from day to day. Yeah, so these are some of the solutions that can scale the networks and let the blockchain embrace the next 100 billion users.
Oh, thank you. So that bring me to a thought that an ecosystem is about one player's work will benefit the other, and we all talk about, you guys all talk about how the other guys' work make your work better and vice versa. Yeah, I think there is a lot of innovation going on in the ecosystem that's worth to dig in, and we only mention a small part of it. Thank you, guys. Thank you for all this sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
好的，感谢4位嘉宾的精彩分享。那今天的圆桌论坛，我们也学到了很多各位嘉宾对于跨链方面的一些分享。那么，女士们、先生们，至此我们今天跨链专场的活动就要告一段落了。那我们未来也希望有更多的机会，大家一块儿在探索区块链、跨链技术、多链生态的未来与机遇和挑战。那最后，我们再次感谢各位的到来。Thanks again and see you next time.